Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the show. Excuse me while I unmute my fellow players as we are all live. Oh, hi you guys. Welcome to the show. Sound test, are you guys working?
Yeah.
Hey, good. Thank God.
Check.
Yeah. First season. Oh my God, it's cool. Guys, welcome to the first show of our first season as full-time D&D streamers. Thank you all for being here. Guys, we have a video being going out for retweets. It is there. And whilst we are doing that, I haven't put it in the overlay yet, but we will still be doing every 10 retweets we get something. I'm not 100% sure what yet, but something will happen. Charlie, our keeper for today, I hand over to you. Were you okay to do introductions?
Yes. So today we will be playing Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. We're going to meet all the characters a little bit later, but for now, I'd like to introduce you to my wonderful players, who I think are nearly as excited as me. The hype is real. Obviously, we have the wonderful Scraticus, Adam. We have the lovely Anna, who is it? I'm not going to try to say it. How do we say it, Anna?
Ephemeroptera.
There we go. Ephemeroptera on on Twitter. We have Travis, who's Travis Boyles on Twitter, and we have the lovely Alice, who is White Rabbit Kick. Throughout the game, I will try and keep an eye on chat and try and answer any questions about the system where possible. If not, tweet me and I'll get back to you. This is a game that I have written, and this is actually my second time playing Call of Cthulhu, so I'm sure it's going to go great. We begin with the setup. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'll read you the setup that I gave the players. It's been a hot and busy summer in the flourishing suburbs where the quality of life for the everyday man has never quite been so good. It's prohibition, but you'd never know it. New York City is as wet as the Atlantic. And here, in the town of Privacy, New York, things aren't any drier, thanks to the bootleggers and the home distilleries providing everything that is needed to lubricate the masses. This town used to have a large mill, but it has since been swallowed up by the sprawl of the city, booming into a commuter town of people trying to get somewhere. You can hear their cars, smell the smog carried in by the train as it goes by, and the radio tells you of traffic, but it also has other news for you. Updates on the big trial. Murder. A woman who killed her husband with the help of her lover and tried to get away with it. Worse still, she tried to get away with insurance fraud. That's how they always get them. Women. Getting such funny ideas because they're allowed to wear those flapper dresses, drink, smoke, listen to jazz. Worse still, I've seen them wearing trousers. Maybe the prohibitionists were right. No morals left here in America. What if your little lady turned on you? She still could, you know. They all could. We'll be alright, Jack. There's just still dumb broads under all that makeup, looking for love and attention, and those diamond rings. Hoo-wee! Whew. Here's a word for our sponsor. The summer's heat is starting to fade, but it seems like there's a last bit of crazy clinging on. Out on the edges of town, in one of those log cabins in the woods, someone took to killing a whole family, save for 2 little boys and one of their friends. Apparently the youngest children slept through the whole thing in the next room. There is an article on the front page of the local paper, delivered to you bright and early this morning, along with some other mail. Postal service is getting pretty slick these days. Other news includes small mentions of Europe. The trouble is still raging there between dictators and haggling over war reparations. But most of the articles are questioning the influx of Italians. Soon there'll be more of them. More than anyone else the way it's going. Attention turns to other paperwork. There's something here with a local postmark from the town hall. Opening it, getting a phone call. This is not the time. I'm in the middle of something. I'm really sorry.
Call Charlie back.
Call me back later. Cthulhu? Hello? I'm busy. Great. You get...
He's calling.
Some other paperwork with a local postmark from the town hall. Opening it up, you see your name and the words, jury service. 1 month later. The courthouse is one of the oldest and biggest buildings on the square in town. The flags are flying high and trembling in the autumn breeze. A cop car is parked on the curb. He's slurping his coffee and watching people come in and going. not minding much. There was no way of dodging this. For 2 weeks at least, you were going to be on the call to serve your community with the help of your peers to decide between innocence and guilt. What is your civic duty worth? 3 lunches from Gloria's, that's what it's worth. At least she has the good coffee, and she gets her eggs from her own hands. It had to be said. What is this sentence, Charlie Smith? This is not a sentence. It does warn you that the prosecution or defense can turn you away at any time, that you should stay true to yourself and your words when you're asked questions at selection. Truth, honesty, justice. It's fair to assume everyone else in the pool with you will be hoping for the murder trial. It's due on the docket soon, isn't it? And here we find ourselves in Privacy, New York. It is fairly bright this morning, and we're approaching 9 a.m. when you know that you should attend the courthouse. I have a question for my players. One of you is going to be early, 2 of you will arrive on time, and 1 of you will be late. Who is going to arrive on time, who will be early, and who's going to be late?
I can be early.
I'll take late.
Okay.
I'll be on to you. Yeah.
If that's
Sounds
cool.
good.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Alice, were you edging on late or early?
If anything, she's a bit nervous, so she'll be getting there on time, but maybe a little bit earlier than...
All right.
Me too. Same here.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Helena, you haven't been in town a long time. You do, however, know where the courthouse is. It's very hard to miss this large marble and stone building built with references to the Parthenon and Rome, with great columns and friezes and statues. It's a tiny bit ridiculous, really, in this town to have such a grand building, but here it is, and it's also one of the oldest buildings in town. And you approach. What does Helena do this morning?
So she would be kind of ready to go, knowing that women aren't super accepted in these courtrooms. She has an air to her that is more, I am not what you expect a woman to be, I am more than. And I would walk in confidently. I would get there early, hopefully to beat some of the men there themselves, to show up as soon as I possibly can and show that I am capable and more than capable of this job. And I'm actually excited. Based on my background, I am ready to learn for myself and to get some ideas.
Crossing into this building, there are already people here. Wooden benches sit below large staircases that go up to the second floor. And in front of you, there is a desk. And behind that is a large statue that you would recognize as Lady Justice. She's veiled with a, what are they called, like a blind thing, and holds up her scales in one hand and her other hand resting on a sword. In front of her at the reception table, there is a young woman who is very busy. Everything about her seems busy. Her hair is curled and wild. She's moving piles of paperwork around and occasionally tapping away on a small transportable typewriter that she has.
So I would assume that I would walk up to her and report that I am here for jury duty and ask if there's any information I will need.
What is your name?
Helena Hawthorne.
Helena Hawthorne. And she goes through her pile of papers and she finds the appropriate one. And there's a big stamp and it echoes and everyone looks up to see what had just happened. Very well. You need to go down to the green door. The green door. Mr. Sparks will look after you.
Okay, I take my... Did she give me a card or she give me information?
She doesn't give you anything. She
Okay,
literally gives you the singular instruction, otherwise doesn't interact with you.
So I look her in the eyes and I thank her and then I walk off towards that door.
The door is a little way down a corridor to your right. And you wander down and the lighting along here gets darker. There isn't as many electric bulbs on the walls here. And eventually you do reach this green door, which has been painted in a bright lacquer There's still kind of shines, but there's definitely chips in it where it's been used a lot. And there's a worn brass handle that's large, and it pulls towards you.
Oh, I've made a terrible mistake. I've played the video again.
Oh.
How do I stop that?
What's wrong with that?
I don't know how to cut it without killing OBS.
Okay, just let go.
Okay.
Okay.
How much did they get? Where did we get up to?
Old Anna's big scene here. We're about to find out what's behind the green door.
Can I just fade instead? Yeah, I can just fade instead. There we go. Whoops. Hello, there we go. Whoops. We're back.
Welcome back.
Sorry.
Because we like in through all the cracks, let me tell you. So Helena has made her way down towards the green door, which is worn. And it's a large door with a large brass handle which pulls towards her.
So I step in through the door, expecting to find Mr. Spark, I believe. So I'm looking around for someone who looks like they could be in charge.
Going into this room, there are large arched windows through which the morning light is just streaming. This entire room seems golden. And there's a desk to your left, behind which sits a portly gentleman with a thick moustache and a fat cigar hanging out. And he's busy, but when you look to see what he's busy with, you see that it's sandwiches. He is arranging the bologna in his sandwiches in a very particular manner. What would you like to do?
I don't think I'll mention his sandwich making, but I think I'll go up to him to ask. I give him my name and say that the lady down the hall sent me. I'm here for the jury.
Ah, you're one of the ladies. I heard we were having them on this jury. And he's just sitting back, and he like man spreads. He like sits back, and his legs kind of go wide, and he's posturing. He's making himself even larger. He's already fairly rotund, but he's just spreading the arms out in his chair. Clearly thinks of himself as an impressive spectacle of a man.
Yeah, now I'll mention his eating habits and ask him what he's doing with his sandwich.
Got it from the cheap place, and they don't make it right. They use the knockoff stuff. And he picks up a piece of bologna and he like waves it at you as if to demonstrate this is clearly substandard meat.
That's really gross. Okay. So what am I supposed to do? You're in charge here. Apparently you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I look after all of you. That's my job. Mr. Sparks. And he like pulls his braces so they like ping back. And he kind of rubs because it was a little bit more violent than he'd wished. There's Hawthorne, right? That's what you said? Miss Hawthorne?
Yes, miss.
Well, take a seat down the end. I'll be looking after you. I'll call you when it's your time. Don't be lying and don't be getting hysterical. I'll have none of that on my juries.
I look at him really sternly and I just walk away. I don't even respond to that. So I find my seat.
You see just this cloud of smoke just continuing to buff it up from where Mr. Sparks is sitting making his sandwich. Alice. Lucia has had a busy morning, I imagine, with her business interests. But she has finally escaped her brothers and made her way to the square. And you've arrived slightly early. You can see from the town clock in the middle of the square, it's sunk into a fountain, the town clock, and it's kind of got the greeny patina around it. And it literally is just like 1 minute before 9, which is when you were told, like, just arrive at 9. That's about 9 o'clock. And you are about to step up to the stairs that lead to the courthouse building when your arm is grabbed and you are spun around in the spot.
And it takes her back, but she spins round. I'm sort of trying to pull her arm back.
What you doing at the courthouse? You see a red-faced young man. His hair is greased back. He looks like someone that maybe knows one of your brothers. There's something familiar about his face, but you can't quite place it in this moment.
Let go of me.
I'll not.
You will. Now. As she sort of tries to pull her hand away. Don't touch me.
Do what I like to a dirty rat. And he's looking defensive, but he does release your arm.
And a dirty rat.
What else are you doing up at the courthouse?
Should I tell my brothers you called me that? Do you know who my brothers are? Do
And
you know who I am?
his eyes kind of go wide as he's suddenly aware that he's maybe made a mistake here.
And she sort of smiles, and I didn't think so. And she sort of backs up. She's actually, like, incredibly nervous, but she's trying to hide it, so...
Alice, could you jack your microphone a bit more?
Yes, I can.
And as this scene is kind of playing out, Eddie, you are also arriving early. And right in front of the steps of the courthouse is this confident woman having a showdown with a scruffy man. And you kind of catch the tail end of her warning him about her brothers. What do you do? You're muted, Travis.
Am I back? Check, check.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely know who that is. And I kind of walk up to the guy and I kind of tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, pal. She's not kidding about those brothers.
Looks like we got a new
And
friend.
if you had any sense, you would move along. She's you don't put your hands on this one.
Business of it. What business is it of yours? And he like pushes you back. Like he wasn't willing to push her, but he's willing to push you, as he's in a defensive kind of stance.
Okay. You know, I kind of look at him and look at her, and I'm on the courthouse steps, and I'm like, you know, good times, pal. You want to shove people? That's fine. I could kick the crap out of you right now, and we could both go in there and you know, let them sort it out for us. Or you could find you know, your junk and the rest of your, you're gonna find you in pieces, dude. Is the thing. You mess with her, you mess with me, you're gonna find you in pieces. It's not gonna be pretty.
He kind of gets a squirrely look about him, and he glances to the curb where the policeman is stood.
Wow.
And the policeman's just there, just like got his coffee. He's like watching, but you get the impression like he doesn't really give a shit. He's not about to jump into this. He has better things to do with his day, like drink his coffee. And he's just like,
See, we eat guys like you for breakfast. That's what you don't get. Is that we have fun with guys like you. We take your toenails out. We pluck out your eyelashes. We spin your head around. You're not going to like it. We hang you by your toenails, then they find you in the lake. You need to move along. It's your breakfast time. I think I hear your mom calling.
all right, let's see how terrifying you are to this young man. All right. So as a result of this encounter with you and your descriptions of things that you have obviously read about somewhere in the dark bowels of your studies, and he actually looks scared to the point where it's not just in that moment scared, but you see a visible chill run up his spine.
Yeah.
And
You see this? You see this? This is what happens when I messed with her. When I messed with her, you know, brothers, right? So you need to move along.
Lucy is just nodding on the side, sort of trying to smile.
he looks between the pair of you, and he nearly trips over his own feet as he tries to get out of the middle and just get away from the scene.
He's a sweet kid. Got a long way to go. How you doing, hon?
Thank you.
It's good. I know. It's good to see you. What are you doing? What are we doing here today?
Well, and she picks up like her letter of jury notice and just waves it. Again, she's still really nervous over what just happened, but she's trying to blag it. And she's like, I assume you're here for this also?
Yeah, we got the, I got the same thing. We're either in the same fan club or we have jury duty today. I don't know.
Well, after it's done, maybe we can go get a coffee. And she just sort of, like winks almost. She doesn't, and proceeds to walk up the steps.
Coffee it is.
And you're met with very much the same scene that Helena faced, with the busy woman at the desk, Justice behind her, people on benches talking quietly. Again, 2 thunderous stamps come down on paperwork, and you're directed down the hall to the room with the green door.
Lucia's sort of trying to catch her breath. She does seem to be a bit like, okay, and will try and sort of straighten herself up a little bit and walk down the hallway as confidently as possible.
Don't let them see you sweat. You're going to be fine. We're going to be in and out of here. Somebody got in a car wreck. Somebody ran over somebody. We'll sort it out. We'll be drinking coffee before you know it.
Don't do that here.
Sorry. I got carried away.
Lucia, seeing as you are accompanied by Eddie, you don't get the same greeting that Helena enjoyed from Mr. Sparks. He is much more to the point. He kind of ticks you off of the list and directs you to sit down at the benches. Again, the room is just illuminated in light. And as you kind of get in and your eyes adjust, you see there are a few more people in here. People that you may recognize from around the town, people that you may not.
She looks around and she nods to probably some people she's seen in her bar, and just sort of, but gives them just a quick nod and a smile before trying to find somewhere to sit, not so in view if possible. She'd probably want to be in the corner somewhere if she can. If she sees Helena, she will be, it's another woman, she'll probably go and try and sit more towards her. Do you mind if I sit here?
Sure.
Thank you. And she sits herself down.
And where does Eddie sit?
Well, do I see, I'm following her in. Do I see Helena too?
I imagine as you walk through this golden light and your eyes are adjusting and you're kind of scanning the rows, you see where Lucia goes and you kind of follow.
Yeah, I'm just going to go sit down.
Seat.
I'm going to sit next to her if there's a free seat next to her.
And you'll see that she's sat next to a very tall woman with a green hat and suit. But maybe you haven't caught sight of her face yet.
All right, well, I grab the nearest free seat, sit down, and open my paper back up. I was in the middle of it.
Right. 15 minutes later. But why are you late to the courthouse?
But he drives up in his sedan. They have sedans then? I hope so. He's got a brown paper bag in one hand and a gun resting on the dash. He's... Courthouse. And he's gonna stumble out in sort of a haze.
The cop, as you pass, says, like, purposefully too loudly, "Good morning, Bert!" And he lights a cigarette and goes back to just his coffee and smoking, just chuckling to himself at having caused you misery.
Yeah, pass me one of those.
I suppose I'll let your bum one, and he'll take the one out of his mouth, and he'll light another cigarette, and then he'll pass that one to you.
Okay.
You given evidence in this state?
I'm here for jury duty. I'm gonna be turned away on PI when they realize that. There's no way I'm getting them.
Well, good luck to you.
And I'll just sort of like half stagger towards the entrance.
And as you go in, if you give any glance back, you'll notice the cop signaling to someone across the street who comes across, and they have a conversation. And the conversation kind of goes on, and they glance up in your direction. And then they kind of both turn their backs on you.
Well, that's another one that I can't trust. Am I allowed to smoke in the courthouse?
Yep.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I'll just...
Smoke everywhere. The receptionist desk is empty. The busy woman that had been there for Helena, Lucia, and Eddie is gone. There's a family sat on the bench beside the staircase. And otherwise you can hear footsteps on the stone floors.
Oh, so I see like the kid with the family. Is there a kid with the family?
Yep, there's a kid with a family.
Oh, I'm like, oh, I saw.
He reached out his hand to take it.
No. I'll walk over towards a bin, and like I'll just sort of like go to put it in the bin, and then I'll bin it empty.
And one for the road.
Yep. I'm gonna go lean over the desk and just see if there's any paperwork with my name on it.
You do in fact see paperwork with your name on it. There is, in the middle of the desk, the jury selection list, which has everyone's names, address, and telephone number that are in this jury pool for today. And in the middle of it is your name.
I'll look down that list as well and just have a look for other names that I recognize.
You recognize Miller, the last name Miller, with the initial L, and your mind leaps straight to the young woman that you know very well from the cafe in town.
I'll just take a note of her number.
And going kind of back up the list in your blurry, hungover, drunk state, you go to the H's and you see Hawthorne. And that's a name that jumps straight into your sober, tiny part of your brain as like a flash from the past. The Hawthorns had been a family that your family had been close with at one point. They were rich, New York City East Side family. And in particular, the daughter of that family had been very close with your own daughter.
Very close.
Just a phase. I'll take down her number 2. Are there any descriptions?
There is no physical descriptions for the people attending. But you do note that the address for both Lucia and Helena is the same. It's both they both have registered their addresses as the cafe, which has apartments above it.
Wow. Just a phase. Is there anything else useful behind this desk that I could look at? Maybe like, where am I supposed to be? Does it give me that?
There is no information on where to send the jury behind the scenes, but you do feel a tug on your trousers, on the back of your pant leg. Just this little hand has reached out and has grabbed it, and it says, "Oi, mister!
Hey, what's up, kid?"
They told me to check your pockets for bubblegum." And he kind of nods over, and in the doorway are the two cops, and they're just stood there, just like watching the scene.
Oh, hang on a minute. Bubblegum. And I'll start pulling things out of my pocket. I'm gonna take my revolver and hand it to the kid for a second. Would you hold that?
He takes it and he like spins around the room with it, and the two cops just duck. They see this gun come swinging around in the hands of this 8-year-old, and they duck. And there's a shocked gasp from the mother on the bench at seeing her son with a weapon in his hand.
It's all right. Safety's on. Safety's on. I think the safety's on. Safety's on.
Put it down! Put it down! She's...
Here you go, kid. Here's some gum. And I'll take my gun back.
Like, look up from my paper and just shake my head.
He looks at you like you're his hero. He just got to touch a gun, and that's the coolest thing that's ever happened. He was at once a cowboy, a mobster, a fed. He was all of the things that he plays in the woods at being. But he had a real gun, and it was heavier than he thought. And he looks at the bubblegum and he shoves it in his mouth.
Yeah, I'll ruffle his hair and, pat him on his way. Get out of here, kid. Get out of here.
What's your name?
You can call me P.I. Morcom.
And like his eyes light up. He knows what a PI is, and that's the coolest thing. And he just gives you a wink. Like he's read about this in books. People give each other winks, and it's a code. So he gives you a wink.
And I'll just sort of take my gun back and then look at the revolver again and be like, oh yeah, it doesn't have a safety.
And he kind of scurries over to his mother, who like hugs him tight and gives you like the biggest scowl. And he's still chewing. His entire like mouth is just like a cow, just with the chud, just like.
Yeah, it's real helpful, kid. That's real helpful. I'll head that way.
And luckily, the kid had been here most of the morning, and he'd seen many people come up to this desk, speak very briefly with the lady, and be pointed down the corridor. And the corridor, as I described before, it gets dimmer as you walk along it. There are a number of regular white wooden paneled doors, but at the end, the door that just sticks out is this green lacquered door.
Yeah, I'll head for that door. As I do, I feel like I should clear up some of the donations and things that have gone on.
Yes.
So let's go right back to the beginning. Before we even went live, Captain Garo subscribed with Prime. Thank you, Captain Garo, if you're in chat. Thank you. We've got 20 bits from Arasavad. We have Zelda subscribing for 5 months in a row. This time with a tier 2 sub. Thank you very much, Zelda. You do indeed get a Wild Magic Search to donate to someone of your choice. An anonymous Katie donated for advantages to everyone. Ed used his Prime sub, Ed used his Patreon to give a nat 20 to both Helena and Lucia, an advantage to Eddie, and a Wild Magic Surge to me. An anonymous person has donated for a Wild Magic Surge for each player. We've hit 21 retweets, which is another 2 random Wild Magic Surges. We're actually on 24 now. I'm definitely keeping up. Ed donated 5 1-tier subs in a sub bomb. Thank you, the sub father, asserting himself early on in the new season. So yeah.
Okay, so for the sake of Call of Cthulhu, the way we will handle advantages is you will get to roll 2 D100s, and much like in D&D, you take the better of the 2, which in this case will be the lowest. With the nat 20s, we will count that as an extreme success in any situation that you decide to use that. you do call to use that nat 20, that extreme success, before you ever roll. So it's a use it and lose it situation. Wild magic surges. I think let's just roll them up. Let's take a brief break and roll up our wild magic surges.
Yeah, I think the calling on this one is just always DM or keeper discretion. So if we need to, we can just re-roll. So I have 2. Everyone else, no, I have 2. Eddie has 2. The ladies have 1 each. And Charlie, if you would like to randomly designate 2 wild magic surges. Well, if we
have 2 extras, then everyone gets 2 wild magic surges by my count.
Perfect. So everyone roll me 2 lots of 1d423.
And thank you so much, chat, for coming and supporting Scrat in this brand new season. I hope you're enjoying the game so far as we make our way into the Privacy Courthouse for jury selection.
Oh, wait,
Eddie gets
1d423.
Oh yeah. On our personal Wild Magic Surge table in our Discord. If you guys would like to, I've done it again. I've hit the video. Don't. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
And you can explain to explain to me what the hell I'm doing.
No,
how do I roll 1d423?
I will put it in Zoom chat for you, so you can just copy.
Type /roll space and then whatever dice you would like. So if it was 2d100, it would be 2d100. If it's 2d4, whatever number it was, then you type that in, and they'll bring them up for you.
So, on an 11, my first one is that I can hold my breath for an extended period of time.
Okay.
In D&D terms, that'd be for 4d6 rounds. Charlie, I'll leave the time frame up to you.
Yep, noted. You have the lungs of a deep diver.
We're doing it twice, right?
Twice, yes, please. 282 is a permanent cloud forms above the target and reflects the target's mood. Happy equals bright and warm. Sad equals grey and raining. Angry flashes of light. Pure joy.
The way we will do this is every time you smoke a cigarette, something strange will happen. It will spark if you are furious. If you are just brooding, it just is a heavy, heavy, thick smelling smoke. The tobacco here apparently is very inconsistent. If you're in a good mood, it's that light, carefree wisp, and you can make smoke rings.
Okay. So at the moment, I guess the smoke literally just sort of like puffs out and just falls to the floor to reflect my mood.
Yeah, it's a very heavy smoke for some reason. It hits that golden light and kind of sinks in a lazy swirl down.
Nice. So let's see. The next one was 402. 402. Target's touch turns water into wine. When consumed, makes the imbiber shout "Hail Bacchus," and always causes a hangover. That feels on brand.
Alright, so Lucia, as we know, you are hooked up with this distillery.
Yes.
But you actually have been working on your own moonshine, your own brew. And when you finally will launch this, it will be the most popular thing ever sold at your cafe. The only downside is the hideous headache that everyone will suffer the next morning.
Yes, I will go for that. So.
We also have 302. Target can only speak a handful of stock phrases. So the way we normally resolve this one is we go around, everyone gives you 1 stock phrase to use, and until you use all 5, you can only use those.
I think what we will do for that is if everyone could put a phrase in chat for Lucia. Lucia, you can only use these phrases except when you are asked a direct question, which you can answer freely.
Oh no! Wait, our chat in Zoom or our chat in
Zoom?
Yeah, not my chat. I'll never get through it. Okay, so I have to use all of these sentences before I'm allowed to speak normally again, other than when I'm being asked a question.
Yes.
Oh no! I
it's
can't.
a mini game. A mini game within a game.
All right, I got it. Let's see, 201.
That's me.
You find a third eye headband that gives the user advantage on anything involving sight and boosts passive perception. Obviously, this is a very D&D centric table.
Right. Can you post that description in Zoom chat for me? Helena, at some point you are going to find something that you may find useful in the coming days. So don't worry about that one too much, and I'll look after that one.
A freaking magic item?
I'm giving you an easy one, Alice.
The Wild Magic Surge table, it giveth and it taketh away. 353 is...
Oh, no. Do I have a tail now? What's the deal?
353 is target can't talk in the normal voice, they must whisper.
Oh, okay.
I
Like
think
forever?
I think what we'll say is that this morning, you've developed a little bit of a cold as the seasons are kind of going through that awkward change.
Oh yeah. Oh
You've
yeah.
got a tiny bit of like an allergy thing going on at the moment. At some point, you may finally clear that, but right now it's a little bit raspy and whispery.
I love it, and I have to say it's consistent with everything I've done so far. It's talking to that guy and talking to Luigi and everything. It's like,
Charlie, I'm gonna whisper Travis's other one to you. You can.
Okay.
I'll give you discretion on what you want to do with that, or if you want to get a re-roll or something.
I have a tail. I knew it. I have a prehensile tail.
I'm gonna keep hold of that. At some point, that will come into effect, and I will let you know, Travis, at what point and the effects.
Okay.
So getting
Now I can talk like Batman. Now I have a legit reason to talk like Batman.
Now you are Batman.
And 283, target must refer to themselves in third person. Again, Charlie, I'll give you discretion on the time frame on that one.
Which character was that one?
That's me.
Alright. Helena, while you are in this jury selection room, you must refer to yourself in third person.
For the whole game?
Just in this particular room.
Oh, okay. Does people watching our game know this, or are we still on the video?
Oh, no. The video didn't play. I got away with it.
Okay, so they're gonna know why I'm... Okay, good.
Yeah. People will know about the mini games that are going on. Great. So that is 2 for everyone, correct? To summarize, Helena and Eddie will be getting surprises in the coming... I'll try and get it in this session, but it might be next session. But it will be very soon. Those 2 Wild Magic Surges will be played out. We have Helena, who may only speak in the third person. We have Lucia, who has a few stock phrases to get through before she can freely speak. Although if she is asked a direct question, she may answer that freely. We have Eddie, who talks like Batman. And then we have Bert with his moody cigarettes and his lungs of steel. I will let you know the mechanical effect of that if it ever becomes relevant.
And also, Charlie, you have been gifted a disadvantage to give to a player of your choice.
Okay, perfect. So the same as I described with we'll do 2 D100 rolls, and in this case you will take the higher of the 2. And I will let you know when that will happen when we get to that point.
Okay, I'll just put that next to you.
Perfect.
I got
Sorry.
a cough drop or like a lozenge, something.
So I guess I'll push open this green door with this like heavy cigarette smoke billowing around my knees.
As you push in, it actually joins up with the heavy smoke that is in here. There are a number of other people smoking. There's the fat cigar that belongs to Mr. Sparks, as long as various other men in this room. Scanning around, the golden light of the morning has faded slightly as the sun has moved in its progression across the sky. And you see there are about 20 people in this room. And very clearly and very strangely for you, 3 of them are female. It's not a surprise. You knew that Helena and Lucia were here.
Oh,
But there's still something weird about seeing these women in the jury environment.
And I recognize Helena, right?
You would probably be able to pick her out as the tall one. Even with her back to you, Helena is the tallest of the 3 women. And you would remember Helena as very tall.
I'll look around the other players. Lucia, I mean, I drink in that bar every now and again, so I guess I'd recognize her too.
Yeah.
Eddie, have we met before?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know why we I keep such a low profile, and shy away from any kind of law enforcement, including PIs. So I think we
I
maybe.
think that it would be a case of Bert would recognize the nose situation. That's something like it gets talked about. Everyone in town has kind of noticed the guy with the nose thing.
Yes.
But
yes.
I think maybe apart from that, you're not super aware of each other.
Yeah.
I didn't see the thing with the kid and the gun, right? That was down the hall?
Nope, that was down the hall in the main foyer.
All right.
So who looks like they're in charge here?
That would definitely be Mr. Sparks, who is at this moment parading up and down between the rows of benches in this room with a checklist. And he's occasionally giving information out to people sat on either side.
So I'll approach him.
Name?
Morecambe, Bert Morecambe. I'm a private investigator.
Good for you. You're late. We don't accept tardiness in this courthouse. Justice runs on a clock. And he just continues walking, and he's like muttering to himself, cigar going in and out of his mouth.
I guess I am allowed to sit on this jury.
Yeah, I don't really get to decide that. He's obviously still listening to you muttering. That's down for the lawyers.
Oh. Does he point at them?
There are no lawyers in this room.
Oh. I'll go and sit down on a bench somewhere.
And for the next 2 hours, you all just sit and wait. Nothing very much seems to happen, save for Mr. Sparks pacing up and down and smoking. Occasionally, people getting up and pacing too. There's just this weird sense of waiting and no one knowing what to do. What do you all do for these 2 hours? And we'll start with Helena.
So I have, like I always, Helena has, like Helena always has, a notebook with her where Helena, this is hard, holds all of the information that she takes as she is learning. Like, she is a writer, so God, this is hard. Helena is a writer, and Helena likes to take information on specific police cases, murder cases, stuff like that, because she belongs to kind of an underground writing society of women who, well, should we go into those kind of backstories yet, or?
I think if it's relevant, you could talk about it, or if not, just bring it up when it comes up.
Okay. So Helena has a notebook, and she will be writing all of the things that Helena sees going on to get information for possible books that Helena could write in the future. I'm not good at this. Okay, that's it.
Perfect. So we have Helena.
Those are tricky.
Helena is people watching, basically, right? She's perfect. So Lucia, next to you have the Helena, who is third person speaking in her head, I think, in an inward monologue, and kind of people watching, keeping an eye on everyone. What do you do for the 2 hours?
She sees her take out her notebook and suddenly remembers her. She's like, where have I put my pocketbook? And she just starts having a look around and pulls it out, and like a pencil. And if she knows anyone in the courtroom or just looking around, she starts noting down whether it's names of people in the courtroom or what they look like. She wants to know who she is in a room with. And she's trying to do it fairly discreetly. She's not like flipping over and writing like, yes. So yeah, she's sort of writing descriptions of people she can see. And she sort of started with Mr. Sparks, and she's almost sketched out like a very portly, unflattering picture of this man.
All right. So the two ladies are busying themselves with notebooks and people watching. That brings us around to Eddie, who is sat, I think, maybe like a row behind them. That's where there was a nice free bench.
And behind them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the bench they're on was maybe like once the bags were down and stuff, it's like one row behind.
Well, I would sit in the back. Sorry, I was in the back. So yeah, my legs are crossed, I'm reading the paper, I'm reading about this stuff in Europe, reading about, this thing that happened out in the woods, apparently, and trying to check out some of the opinion stuff because they executed a couple of Italians a month ago, and I've been kind of keeping an eye on that because, my expertise as an antiquarian is in Italian marble, 16th, 17th century marble work, mostly from Italy, and so I kind of keep an eye on all that. I want to go back and visit, but I'm broke. Anyway, so I'm sitting there thinking my thoughts, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on Lucia, making sure that I sort of see myself sort of keep nobody's going to mess with her today, and keeping an eye on her, and I think I start to kind of look really closely at the tall woman sitting next to her, and I'm like squinting, and I'm like, man, something real familiar about that tall woman sitting next to Lucia. Who is that? And I can't quite, I think if I'm behind them, I can't see their faces. And so I'm just like looking up from my paper and just thinking real hard, who is that?
Do you have an appropriate skill that you think would be useful in recognizing?
Let's see. Mechanical repair? No, probably not. Well, yeah, I get like investigation, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's the skill that you have.
See
I would say probably any relevant intelligence skill would be fine because that's logic and intuition. So.
Yes.
So
So
you pick one of those.
man, I cannot freaking see with these glasses.
We thought that
probably
leaning
do-
was a character thing.
No, like I am like.
Probably
hang
do
on,
like
let me load this up.
history would probably be a good.
There you go, history.
Good one.
I can read that. I have a 60 in history.
Perfect. So if you
What's
would
up?
like to roll a D100, and you
Oh, I would love to.
60 or below.
I would love to. What's a D100? Just kidding, folks. He knows what a D100 is.
Great. So at the moment that Helena turns her head in the way that you would be able to actually see her face, you look away. You're busy thinking about who could this woman be, and you look out the window and you're busy watching a seagull just fly by, and you miss your chance to see Helena's face in this moment.
I'm all up in my head. I think I see a squirrel. I think there's a squirrel out there.
And you, at this point, just write off, like, it's just some broad, it's just another woman. You'll find out who she is if you're meant to find out who she is. Like,
I would think to myself, I haven't seen a woman that tall in a long time. Because she's super tall, right? She's like 6. Isn't that the deal?
yeah.
6'2".
You haven't seen her stood up yet, but even sat down, you can see, compared to where the back of the bench is, like, she's definitely tall. All right, and that brings us finally to Eddie. No, Bert. My bad. Bert. Get your names the right way around eventually. What has Bert been doing for 2 hours?
Just puts
Can I
the dark
please be
glasses
sitting
on,
near him?
leans back, and just like
Can he please be in the back with me?
he's catching flies as well,
But I would say yes. He's just chosen like the nearest place, which happens to be on the same bench as Eddie.
This guy's got the right idea.
And suddenly, the doors at the other end of the room. So the room has doors at either end. You came in through the green door. There's another set of doors at the other end that are dark wood. They open with a crack, which startles most people in this room who had been anxiously waiting. How do you all respond?
Just look at it instantly, like head kind of whips over towards it.
I was gonna say, Lucia might jump a little bit, just at how sudden the noise is, and then try and compose herself again.
I'm gonna look up and fold my paper up and slap it into my lap. Let's see what fresh hell this is. Finally, now that they've woken up, decided to talk to all 12 of them.
I'll be looking awake as well. Honestly, the sleep was more a way of avoiding people than anything else. So he's just sort of like, sitting forward and takes the glasses off.
The fussy woman from the front desk is handing Mr. Sparks a piece of paper, which he looks down over. You hear the reading of 12 names. And everyone within our party is called except for Helena. You are all invited to come and stand in a queue by the door. And Mr. Sparks comes down the line. He has the face of authority and like he's inspecting you, like he's inspecting his troops before they go off into battle. He takes the newspaper from one gentleman and he kind of chucks it on the bench and gives him a nod. And he reaches Bert and he takes a breath and he adjusts his cigar and he reaches into a pocket and he brings out a small tin of breath mints and he gives you one of those and he closes it and he said, I told you, I look after my jurors. And he moves along and he reaches the woman, the other woman in the room, and she is a trembling mess. She is terrified of everything that is going on. She doesn't know how to handle this situation. And in the 2 hours that she was waiting, she'd been hoping someone nice would come and talk to her. She'd been hoping that someone would make this all okay. And she just bursts into tears as Mr. Sparks reaches her in the queue. And he kind of puts an arm protectively around her and he looks up at the busy woman who goes through some paperwork that she has. And she reads through, Helena, make me a luck roll. That's a D100 versus your luck statistic.
Yeah, I don't know where my luck went.
Top left is under your hit points.
Yeah.
Oh, it's blank. So,
Usually starts at 50, I think, unless you've got... Is that right, Charlie?
Let me just check. It's a 2d6 plus 6 roll. Times 5. So if you want to make that now.
I can do it again. I know I had it. 10 times 5, 50.
Perfect.
Okay.
So now you just need to make your D100 roll. Don't forget, you can vote to extreme pass this using your... I believe Helena had one of those, correct?
Yeah.
I can't. 35?
Great, perfect.
Under, okay.
So, yes, under. So this is just a regular success. But it is enough because you see the fussy woman pause as she's going over whatever list she's looking at. And she looks up and she's looking around the room. And because you're interested and you're looking at these doors, she catches eyes with you. And she looks slowly down at her paperwork and slowly up at you. And she brings Mr. Sparks back down and she gives him the name and he calls out, Helena Hawthorne. And you are invited to join this jury pool.
Excellent.
He kind of frowns at your excitement. Fan of glorious cooking, are you?
Yep, that's it.
Perfect. And the 12 of you, the four of you and your 8 peers are ushered up a set of upper staircase, which kind of spirals around. There's the second floor landing, but you continue up to the 3rd floor, the highest point in the courthouse, and you are brought into a holding room. It is white brick, white plain stone inside, and you are given some very brief instructions that anything from here on out discussed within the courtroom that you hear, you are not to discuss with anyone outside of the Pool of 12, and the details of the case should not be discussed without all members of the Pool of 12 present. Mr. Sparks kind of gives the 2 women like a look of, really, you guys shouldn't have been included, but you're here, so he purposefully and pointedly wishes you both good luck and leaves the room. And you sit. There are 2 long benches in this room. It's a small kind of cubicle-y type room. And beyond the door, there are 2 doors. There's one on this wall, and then there's one on the end wall. And beyond that door, you can hear muffled voices and the sound of chairs scraping wooden floors. And you have the impression that beyond that door is probably the courtroom.
Great. Grand. Wonderful. Awesome. I should have brought a cot and a blanket and a pillow.
And my 3rd person is over, right?
Yep, you are in a different room.
Yay.
Yay.
Did I hear the guy say her name out loud?
Yes, her name was loudly announced into the room, even though she was the only woman and it was obviously the only Helena in the room.
Right.
It was announced as the 12th.
And we're sitting on these benches facing each other? Is that correct?
Yeah, there are 2 long benches, so it'd be like 6-6.
Okay. I'm like
7-5, depending on how close people want to sit next to each other. Yeah.
Well, if I heard her name out loud and now we're sitting across each other, I'm sort of like, I'm not apoplectic, but I'm quietly freaking out. Like I'm just sitting very still and trying to keep cool and looking at her. I'm looking at her face very carefully, and I'm just looking. I'm just watching her reactions very carefully at this point.
And Helena, as you are sat on the bench, you will see Eddie and his strange appearance. And it's possible that you would recognize him. And I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm not going to make you roll for that. That is up to you if Helena is going to recognize him.
I think that at this point, since I'm kind of focused on what I'm doing, I would see him. I would notice something that seems familiar, slightly familiar, but he has this kind of stuff on his face, so that would interest me. And then I would be kind of more like, okay, this person looks familiar, but I wouldn't know who it was right off the bat with the not disguise, but with the face. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would recognize him.
And everyone in this room is fidgeting, and there's another desperate pause where everyone's like, please don't let us be sat here for 2 hours. It's like, this is a tinier room, there are no windows here, and you're trying to avoid eye contact. It's like a subway train would be in a modern setting. It's just like, it's up to you if you do awkwardly want to make eye contact with anyone or have any conversation. It's very quiet, and everyone's kind of afraid to make noise. Someone will shuffle on the bench and panic at making the sound of a ruffling coat.
I'll lean over and look at Bert, see if Bert's sobering up yet.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Put your head between your knees, pal.
No, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
All right. You partied early, or did you party late?
What day is it today? No, it's court day, yeah. I came straight from home.
Oh.
You?
Think you'll live. Think you're gonna survive. You look a little gray.
Yeah, it's a new suit. you know. No, wait, this isn't my new suit. This is my old suit. Okay.
Don't throw up on that. Don't throw up on your old suit.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I
We
wish I
need
had
some protein. Do they feed us?
You have not been fed so far this morning. Unless you ate before you attended the courthouse.
This guy needs eggs and coffee. Stat. I don't know. See what happens. See if I can't find you something, Bert. I don't know your name yet.
Okay. Women folk, they usually carry food, right? And I turn to Lucia and just be like, hey, Lucia, you stay at your bar all the time. You got any, snacks?
Snap.
On them?
Do you think I just carry them around?
Well, you got one of them handbags, right, with everything in it. You know.
I do have a bag. There are no snacks in it.
Got a handbag, but no snacks? It seems like a waste of a handbag to me.
I'm sorry. I can't hear you. You have to speak into my good ear.
I said that seems like a waste of a handbag, if you ask me.
Well, then maybe if you want snacks, you should carry a handbag.
This broad got sass.
I'm sure
what
if
I have.
if you ask the people in the courtroom nicely, someone will have something.
I look towards, probably not Helena, because I recognize Helena and she represents something that just scares me. I'm gonna instead ask the other woman, the nervous one, right? The one who's
She's
like,
not in this room.
Oh, does she
was-
break down? Yeah.
Yeah. And just for context, you would know, but that this is the first batch that will go through jury selection. So you're not officially on the jury yet, but you're going to be called in and you'll face the lawyers and they'll decide if you get to sit on or not. And this is like the first batch, so you could be in for a long day.
We've got a real long day ahead of us. There's gonna be screenings and paperwork and questions and then more paperwork and then...
See, I start shaking my leg and I start doing that thing with my hand, you know, you're gonna make a fist over and over again. I'm looking around like, well, we're gonna need some black coffee in here, post haste, all day.
Could well be.
And paperwork?
Could well be.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna count to 10. That'll be fine.
You realize it's probably not even a trial today. We're probably just doing all the screening today, ready for another day. And if it's a long trial, these jury services can go on for weeks.
I had not thought about that. No.
I wish
Cool.
I hadn't binned my liquor. It goes faster when you're half cut.
You didn't bring any of that in here with you, did you?
No, I tossed it outside.
Oh, what the hell did you do that for? Jeepers. All right. Well, as soon as one of these people gets in here, we're going to need some coffee. And lots of it. I'm going to need an IV drip.
What now?
You know what that is. It's a thing.
Down at one end of the benches, a guy who had been pretending not to listen just like laughs to himself and just goes back to pretending not to be listening.
I'm like stretching my back. I think I might stand up, you know. I'll like work my back like this, kind of walk around in a circle for a second and try not to yell at anybody. Because I think it's starting to set in like what this is and what's about to happen. And I'm not thrilled about it. I was kind of in the middle of something. And I really don't need to be in one room with anybody for weeks. It's not a good, the timing is bad to say the least. And so I'm trying not to embarrass myself or lose my cool here as we are just getting started. It's not going well. So I'm going to take a walk. I might walk around the room for a second.
Awkwardly pacing between sets of knees and feet, Eddie is just back and forth fidgeting. A couple of the other gentlemen on the jury are kind of sharing cigarettes and talking quietly beneath their breath. And it's just more of that same awkward waiting, the sense of something could happen any second, but also this is deathly boring because nothing is happening this second. And you can hear the sound of Eddie's feet on this floor, and it kind of echoes around this room with nothing in but 12 people and 2 benches.
Here's the steeple, in goes the church, and out come the people.
You don't keep like a hip flask? You strike me as the kind of guy who keeps a hip flask. Something in your sock?
Well, I mean, I do have a special reserve.
There you go. That's what's up. That's what's up. I knew I'd get it out of me.
I take a hip flask from my pocket and just pass it across.
I knew you and I were going to be friends as soon as you walked in here.
And as that hip flask reaches Eddie's mouth, the door opens. And it is revealed that beyond the door isn't quite the courthouse, but is another waiting room. And a gentleman stands there. I'll take that. And any other contraband or weapons, please? So he's bringing you all forward one by one to hand over anything that would not be appropriate to go into the courtroom.
I'm gonna need a signed docket for my pistol.
He takes it, and you are actually issued a receipt for any belonging that you hand over. You are issued a quick receipt.
Thank you.
All right, so I see him do that, and Charlie, do I feel like I need to tell these people that I've got a gun on me?
It is heavily implied that you should hand over any and all weapons, obvious or concealed. It is up to you if you do that.
All right, I think really carefully about it.
All right, so whereabouts in the queue would you be as a line forms of the...
I'm in the back. Excuse me. I'm thinking about it.
So you'll be in the back. I'm gonna get your names wrong. Bert and Eddie, and I'm thinking Bert and Ernie, and I'm like, don't say either of those. That's not right. But so you were kind of pegged pretty early on as having just handed over the hip flask to the pacing man, who is conveniently now paced all the way to the back of the room and out of trouble with your hip flask.
Mm-hmm.
You've handed over your revolver, been given a receipt, and you were sent through to the next room. Helena, Lucia, where are you in the order of business?
Lucia has just lined herself up. She hasn't got anything on her at all, so just tries to stand and get it over and done with as soon as possible.
Helena does not have anything that should be given or confiscated. I didn't bring anything.
At the sign of you two coming through, there is an obvious hesitance. There's a glance at any kind of pocketbook or handbag you have, but there's a sense of this guy isn't going to ask questions or frisk you or anything. Like, just, yep, go ahead. Women's business, take it with you. There's that kind of sense from this guy. He is not used to having women in this setting, and you two are very alien to him. And that brings us, as the rest of the, I think, 8 others kind of file through, various things are handed over. There's a switchblade that's handed over. After a conversation about whether a knife counts as a weapon, it's kind of handed over and tucked away. And there's a few other things. A few other people kind of fess up to having hip flasks, and those get put in. The sense of everyone is now slightly more nervous. Everyone feels slightly guilty about something. And they don't want to have any attention brought to them, so they will happily hand things over. And finally, at the back of the queue is Eddie. What do you do?
I pull out my pocket knife, and I'm like, now listen, I like this knife. Don't lose my knife. I put it in the thing. I got some red rope licorice. That's for you. And then I just walk in.
I can't accept this, and he's holding up the licorice in the little paper bag that you kind of dropped it in.
All right. Well, then I eat it.
Alright, so you take it and you go through eating your licorice, and you're also issued a receipt for your blade.
Hey, thanks, pal.
And finally, you're in the courtroom. This courtroom is set up so that you enter alongside where the box for holding the accused is. And then beyond that, to the left side, are rows of benches for the public to sit, the gallery. In front of that, there are 2 tables for the prosecution and the defense. Finally, the judge's bench is opposite you on the far wall, alongside which is the witness stand. And finally, on this right side, facing across the courtroom to be able to see all people in attendance, is the jury box, where you will hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, end up sitting.
Never did get that drink.
Did you hand over the hip flask, or do you still have that? Have you still kept that somewhere?
Looks like we got a new friend.
Yeah, Eddie had it. So did Eddie hand over the hip flask?
No. Oh, God, no.
He's still got that. He's
Are
still
you out
got
of your
it
mind?
tucked away. Perfect.
No, I finally take a sip and I hand it back to him and give him a nod from one former alcoholic to one active alcoholic.
So you're all kind of grouped in this little space where you've come into the room. And you see the room is mostly empty, save for the judge who is sat at his bench. He's an elderly man
Looks like we got
with
new
a
friend.
really thick shock of white hair that's kind of been brushed to be neat. And it would be the equivalent, I suppose, of like a bob. Like, this is how this hair has been styled. It's bizarre and not quite in keeping with the times, but you have the impression that he looks after himself. He's clean shaven. He has dark, heavy robes that he's decided to wear. And sitting in front of him is a gavel, the handle of which is a worked wood, and the rest is metal. It shines, it's silver in color. You have the feeling that when this thing bangs, it's really gonna bang. But it's just led there. He's busy doing something. It's not really clear what, whether it's reading from a book or some paperwork or just looking at his hands. You can't quite see because he's elevated a little bit above you. Around you, everyone kind of is sharing glances between the juries. And at the 2 tables, there are the lawyers for the prosecution and the defense. The prosecution are very alert and ready, and they're all eyeing you. I say they're all, there are only 2 of them. 2 gentlemen. And they are paying a lot of attention to the people who have just come in the room. They're sizing up their options. The defense, meanwhile, has his feet up on his table and is smoking. He is bored. He has been here a long time. He has been waiting for the jury to come in. He's bored. He's very casual. The judge looks up. There's no particular reason why he seems to have looked up. He has just looked up and he's finally realized you're there. And he waves. The jury secretary, the gentleman who had taken your various items from you, shuffles through the crowd to the front, and he now holds a list with your names on. And he calls Bert to the stand. And you were invited into the witness box in this case. And for a while, nothing seems to happen, and the judge kind of clears his throat, and he's looking between the 2 sets of lawyers, like, get on with it. And the prosecution is looking at the defense, who still sits with his feet up on the table, smoking his cigarette and just watching the smoke. And the secretary kind of looks between you and him. And you get the sense like something weird is going on. Someone is not playing their part in the sequence that is meant to happen here.
I rifle into my pocket and I pull out a cigarette. Yeah.
Pardon me, Bet. Sorry, what was your last name? I don't have it in front of me. And the judge is busy.
Morecambe, P.I. P.I. Morecambe.
Mr. Morecambe, I would rather you didn't smoke in my courtroom. And he like pointedly is looking at the defense as he's saying this.
We can't smoke in here. Why not?
Oh, it is for my health. The doctors have suggested that despite what the campaigns say, it is not best for me. You understand?
Yes, of course. And he goes to another pocket and goes, Menfolds, got it.
And he kind of looks between you and the defense, and he's like, this is how my day's gonna go. And he shuffles his papers, and the defense pulls his feet off of the desk with a slam onto the ground, and he's up and he's alert, and he says, Mr. Morecambe, what is it that you do for a living?
I'm a private investigator.
So you're familiar with the law?
Very.
And how do you feel about criminals?
There's only one place for him.
And where is that? For the court?
Prison or hell.
Now, what is the difference between a criminal and an ordinary man? Do you know?
Do you know what I do? Can I do a quick law check to see if I can recite the official definition?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
One shoots people, the other doesn't.
Something like that. Very good, very good. They are the perpetrator of a crime as convicted by the court. Everyone in here is innocent until proven guilty. Do you believe that, Mr. Morecambe?
Do you know what? I do. Even the women.
And in your damnation that criminals should be in jail or held, does this mean you have no problem with the execution of a criminal, as is legal and lawful in the state of New York?
As long as it is legal and lawful and the man has been convicted beyond all reasonable doubt, yes, I am for the right to execute.
Do you believe that all men are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law?
That's a tough one. I believe that we are all innocent of crimes that we are accused against, but I also believe that we all have some sort of guilt in our soul, be it smoking in a judge's presence or, I don't know, smaller transgressions. But yes, ultimately yes.
The defense, who have been somewhat grandstanding in their questioning of you, go and sit down, and he steeples his fingers and he glances to the prosecution, and they glance back at him wondering what the hell just happened. No, we don't have any questions for this juror, Judge. We accept Mr. Morecambe. And the judge looks to the defense. Well, I'll think about it, he says. And the juror secretary comes across to let you out of the witness stand. There's a little kind of gated door that kind of swings out. And you are escorted to go and sit and wait in the jury panel in the 2 benches.
Looks like I passed.
And this goes on as a couple of men are asked. They're generally asked about their occupations, opinions, and things. Some very strange questions come from the defense, but then the prosecution start asking strange questions too. And it seems in many ways that there is a game being played to which none of you have been given any rules. And Helena /
Wow.
Lucia, which one of you would like to go next?
Thank you, you
you have been grouped together in the list that is being read from, and the judge is looking between you, and he isn't sure how to invite you into the witness stand at this point. He's kind of nervous because strange things have been happening, and it's been a weird day, and now there are women.
I can go.
And sorry, what was your name, Miss?
Helena Hawthorne.
Yes, I have you. And you have the impression that all the men are listed down one side of his list, and your two names are on this other side of his list.
Thank you, Malhadale, who donates to give our keeper 5 nat 20s.
Ooh, boy. Oh boy,
no.
my little monsters are so happy. Okay. So you proceed to the stand. You are advised to tell the truth in answer to any of these questions, and that you can not answer questions if you wish. The same instructions would have been given to Vet. Sorry, I forgot to mention those. So, Miss Hawthorne, what is your occupation?
I'm a writer.
And what does that entail?
Fiction mostly, inspired by true life.
You enjoy making up stories?
I enjoy making stories based on things that have happened, but twisting them a little, yes.
The defense kind of paces.
But I do know the value of fact and reality.
And when was the last time you cried, Miss Hawthorne?
I don't.
Prosecution kind of like new levels of weird are being achieved.
I think the last time I cried was when my mother died. I was around 5.
And how did she die?
An illness.
The judge kind of puts, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Have you ever been married, Miss Hawthorne?
I have not. I have no intentions at the moment.
You have no respect for marriage as an institution.
I highly respect marriage. I just wish it was a little more inclusive. But I digress.
The defense has no idea what you just told him. And he goes and sits down and invites the prosecution. Miss Hawthorne, should this prove a capital case, do you believe you are capable of seeking the death penalty as part of your role as juror?
I believe that I can do all that I can to make sure this is a fair trial. And if that is the outcome, then that is the outcome and I will accept it.
Wow, all this gold is for me? Thank you, you guys.
You are aware that women have only been invited here as part of an experiment within the county.
I'm very accustomed to experimentation, so that's fine.
Oh my.
Do you believe you can perform the role of a juror in a fair and honest manner?
I feel more than capable of this role.
You are aware that there is a murder trial that you may possibly be asked to serve on.
I am aware, and I am able.
The details of such crimes do not bother you.
They do not. A lot of my writing has to do with such events. I've studied a lot. I know things that I wouldn't think the normal person would know or want to know, but I am fairly used to it by now. That doesn't bother me in that sense.
Where did you study? The defense pipes up.
I studied in Paris. My family decided that it would be good to send me abroad to get more cultured.
Sorry, tap the button.
Okay.
Sorry. And whereabouts abroad?
Paris, France.
And what was it that you learned there?
I learned as much as possible: philosophy, writing, psychology, the cultures and arts of the world, as much as I can.
Do you believe you are smarter than the men that serve with you on this jury?
I don't know why you asked me that specifically, but I think that I am highly capable as an individual, regardless of my gender, regardless of the genders around me.
I accept her. And he goes and sits down. And the prosecution are really baffled. Like, they were expecting a rejection. And they shuffle through their notes. We accept her too. And you're invited to sit, and you are told to sit on the back bench as someone who is confirmed as a part of this jury.
Okay, I take my seat.
Miss Miller. Yes, that is your name, correct?
Correct.
You look familiar to me. The judge is like peering down at you, like,
How so?
you live in town, don't you?
I do.
Mm. Whereabouts is it you work? And the judge is just having a casual conversation over his.
I work in the little the coffee shop in the square.
And who is your mother?
A good woman. She is no longer with us.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. There's a lot of mother loss in here today. And he waves you over, and the juror secretary very politely kind of guides you over to the witness stand.
Thank you.
You're Italian, yes?
Half.
Which half?
Mother was Italian, my father American. Local.
And you consider yourself part Italian and part American?
I do. I am proud of it.
And what is your occupation? Since that is the question of the day.
I work in the coffee shop.
What is it that you do in the coffee shop, exactly?
I make the coffee, I put a smile on my face, and I make sure the people who come in are happy.
Would you like to demonstrate your smile for us?
And she just sort of, first of all, sort of winces at that, and then just tries to put on the smile, no matter how uncomfortable.
Young lady, you don't have to do that. The judge is clearly losing his temper a tiny bit at this point, but doing his best to remain composed. Miss Miller, the prosecution decides to step in before something dramatic happens. As much as they'd like the defense to hang himself, they step in. Do you have any associations with convicted felons?
I do.
Would you mind telling the court the nature of these connections?
My father was a very bad man, and I am nothing like him.
Could you be more specific? The crime?
He liked to wield a gun. He killed a fair few people, and then I turned him in.
You believe in the justice system, even when it comes to your own family?
I do.
Have you ever seen someone murdered?
I have been very lucky to have not seen that.
Have you been in this courtroom before? And he holds his hands out, like, this specific courtroom.
Okay. And she sort of just takes a second to look around. I don't think so.
And the prosecution glanced to the defense, who has just sat back down and his feet have once more returned, and he's busy playing with a cigarette. He hasn't lit it. He's kind of glancing at the judge. Now, how do we say this name of yours? Just in case it comes up.
Lucia.
Lucia. Yes. Very un-American.
Very. My mother wanted me to have a name of where she came from.
Do you know anything about the he stops and he's trying to formulate his question, knowing that he is on thin ice. No, never mind. Do you believe as a woman you are qualified to serve on this jury? That you are the peers of the men that will face trial here?
You called me here, didn't you? I am as able as any man. Yes, and she just sort of glances over at Bert briefly. I effectively run my own business. I look after myself. I do not need a man to look after me. I am as strong. I am as, how shall we say it, mentally capable as anyone else in this courtroom. And sort of glances slightly at Bert again, like almost everyone in this courtroom.
You are familiar with Mr. Morecambe? The judge kind of leans over.
I do. I recognize his face. That's as far as it goes. This is more in gesture to the interrupting sounds he is making.
Mr. Morecambe, if you would please refrain from interrupting Miss Miller.
Man's not allowed to cough.
Please fetch Mr. Morecambe a glass of water, and the jury secretary like shuffles off to go and do immediately what he is told.
Thank you.
Miss Miller, do you think your family could influence your decisions here in this courtroom?
As I said, I am my own person. No one influences me anywhere. Do you think I would have put my own father in jail if he had an influence over me?
And the guilty should be punished, correct, Miss Miller?
Correct.
And for how long should they be punished?
For however long they deserve.
Yes, put her in.
We also have 2 wild magic surges to gift at random.
Alright, I'm gonna roll a d4. 1 will be Adam, 2 will be Travis, 3 will be Alice, and 4 will be Anna. So there's 1 for Adam. And 1 for Anna. That's a D423. The prosecution take more time weighing Lucia up. And is anyone watching the prosecution, or Lucia, are you invested in any way in their decision here?
I think Lucia is probably glancing at them and giving them like a smile, like a really cheery smile, and just taking the time to look at every individual in there.
Right, so looking closer at the prosecution, they are both very well kept. Their suits are slightly out of date, but of good make. They're both fairly young men. And they're not people you are familiar with. You've never seen either of these gentlemen in town before. The defense, meanwhile, is in a much louder suit. It's patterned. It's not a bright color, but there's a sense of it's part of his show, part of his demeanor. And there's something about him to you that says city lawyer. It might be his shoes. There's something about him that has that presence beyond the fact that he's being very dramatic in his demonstration. There's something that says to you, this guy isn't from around here.
This is the prosecution?
This is the defense. The defense very much seems not from around here.
I got you.
The prosecution, I was going to say Alice, Lucia doesn't recognize, but there's not the same kind of aura or kind of clothing signals about them. Just kind of a generic feeling. And you get the impression that they have a problem, not with something Lucia has said, but with the way the defense is reacting, and they don't understand why the defense has put her through, because to them she's a winning card. She's a juror they're gonna get, and they don't know what he's found out that they don't know. And there's a lot of discussion, and everyone here finds themselves again waiting, and the courtroom itself feels scarily still, save for the conversation that's happening and the few fidgeting members of the jury waiting for their turn. Or sorry, the selection group waiting for their turn. And it's a heavy feeling. And there are up in the ceiling slim windows, not very wide, through which light is coming. And a cloud kind of passes over and the room falls darker for a moment. All right, yes, we're for juror number, and they say your name and a number that you've been given. And you were told to sit on the back row alongside Helena. There are a couple of men already on that back row as well that have passed for whatever reason. There were also 2 men that didn't, and there was no justification given for why they were not selected. They were just dismissed for one reason or another.
So, 2 wild magic surges if it's a good time.
Yeah. Perfect, let's do this.
293, target begins babbling a language completely unknown to any being alive.
Okay.
You're speaking in tongues now.
And 52, which is mine, suddenly I believe I am a bard.
Oh, God.
Okay. Keep those in your heads for a minute. I will come to you at an appropriate time, I think. As finally, Eddie is invited to the last of the 12, as more people have been accepted and dismissed, and you are invited up to take the witness stand.
Can I just interrupt the guy?
Yeah.
My name is Edward Strebeck. I'm 40 years old. And in my opinion, there's something romantic about the American criminal. Why, when I was a kid, I had a creepy uncle who lived in the bar behind my house. Family's house. He had a stack of Tijuana Bibles about this high. And it had, those cheap paperbacks of the exploits of the James Gang and Jesse James. And, it's always been a personal hero of mine. People are criminals for a lot of different reasons, either poverty or life circumstance. And that's certainly something I sympathize with, though I did not pursue a life in crime myself. Also, I have a chronic health issue, got a little passageways issue. I'm very sensitive to cigarette smoke, and that causes a problem. I sprained my ankle on the way over here. You guys need to sweep the walk. It's pretty treacherous out there, so yeah.
You are aware it is a crime to mislead a courthouse in the attempt to evade jury service.
I don't know who's evading jury service. This is honesty. This is the honesty that is in the American character. That is what I'm sure that you will be asking me about. I'm just getting out in front of it.
And what do you think was most important in what you just told us? The judge is not very pleased with how any of this has gone. And Eddie is just like the icing on the cake right now.
I just feel like it's important to be open and upfront about health issues. I'm anticipating what I'm going to be asked, having heard 20,000 people explain, whatever to you now. What have we been here for 3 hours? I'm just saying, I'm sick, I don't feel good, and Jesse James was awesome. So what's up?
Do you believe that your health conditions will hamper you in your ability to sit and listen to the facts of a case?
Yes.
The judge has taken over the questioning now.
Yes.
You are aware that you will be required to attend even if you do not sit on a trial for a minimum of 2 weeks.
If you say so, then I'm aware of it. Also, I got bronchitis.
The judge sits back and he looks to the defense and the prosecution. I like your honesty. We need honest people in this courtroom. Are you right? All right, Mr. Right back.
I have a nervous condition, and sometimes I take very deep breaths. You may continue, sir. I don't mean to disrupt the proceedings. It's this bronchitis. You see, I got a little like a lozenge. You got one.
Oh, Jonathan, find the man a lozenge. The judge actually taps his gavel. He's like hit that point, and he doesn't know why he does it. He like looks at his hand like, oh, that was not what I meant to do, but.
Oh, I definitely recognize him now, by the way.
It'll be a long month.
The prosecution ask a few questions which you have basically already answered. They're just clarifying your place of work and the nature of your current business.
I run Streetbeck Imports International,
Looks like we got a new friend.
which is mostly a consulting operation. I have a master's in 16th and 17th century neoclassical marble statuary, and I speak frequently at colleges and travel frequently. So that's another thing to consider, obviously, is that I'm extremely mobile and frequently asked to tour and speak about recovered ancient statuary.
But we shouldn't
That is my
ask you
trade.
to sit and listen. Stand and speak, yes, but sit and listen, no. Is that quite correct?
Yes? Wait, what's the question?
The judge is basically calling you on your bullshit in that you've just said that you go and speak and you travel and you can stand all around the world, but you just previously said that you wouldn't be able to sit and listen on a jury. So that's what he's calling you out.
All right. You know, and you know, that's fine. You know, tell you no lies, sir. You know, I'm a good American. I pay my taxes. And if I need to sit and listen to whatever this is, then I'm happy to accommodate. If you got 3 square meals a day in it, I'll be your best friend.
I believe jurors get a voucher for Gloria's. It should have been in your letter.
Oh, right. The letter. Okay. Sounds good.
The judge sits back and he looks to the defense and the prosecution like, please don't ask any more questions. Just decide on this guy because we have another 20 people waiting to come in to fill the rest of this up. And the defense, you said you liked Jesse James.
I admire his exploits, yes.
The prosecution are just like, Judge,
I admire his daring and his pluck.
we, Judge, and the judge, no, the defense has to go first. Oh, I accept him, yes, perfect. I just want to watch him struggle, to be honest, Judge. I'm quite interested in that.
And that's legal? That's a legal thing? To torture a man? A sick man?
The judge rolls his eyes. If you can provide a letter from your doctor that states you will be unable to attend a long trial, I will consider changing.
All right, I don't talk to doctors anymore, so where do I sit?
The prosecution kind of look at each other and then they both look at the defense. And I would like all of you to make some sort of awareness roll. I don't have the skill sheet in front of me.
Like a spot hidden, or?
Yes, a spot hidden. That's perfect. I can remember what it was called. Yes, a spot hidden. Oof.
Ooh, I have a 50.
We do have advantages, nat 20s, nat 1s. You call the fumbles on us, of course, Charlie, but we do have advantages and successes to use, guys. Oh, damn!
What's up? I spotted that hidden.
Alright, so with the success from Adam and the extreme success from Travis, you notice that the prosecution seemed to look at the defense fixedly for a long moment. It's awkward and strange, but at the same time, so has everything in this room been since you came into it. But Eddie, you notice something odd in the eyes of the defense. Something where his pupils seem to dilate so wide his entire eyeball becomes black.
Ooh.
And I need you to make a sanity check.
Ooh.
What?
Which one was this?
That guy's freaking me out.
So this is the defense, the guy who's been kind of grandstanding from the
Okay,
scene.
so I roll under my sanity.
Yes. Whatever your current sanity is, you need to roll under that number.
And sanity is the only thing you can't use luck on, so do we want to extend that to not being able to use critical successes and advantages as well, Charlie?
No, I'll let you guys use them. If that's how you choose to burn what is gifted by chat, that is fine.
Fair enough.
Right, so you succeed.
I do. I gotta have a 70
Great.
sanity.
You lose 1 point of sanity.
Oh,
As
good.
you have seen in the eyes of this man, something that causes all of the tumblers in your brain to whir for a moment. And you feel convinced yourself very briefly that you should be on this jury. And that there's something pleasant about this man that means that you want to agree with him. And you nearly miss it. You nearly miss it as it's announced by the prosecution that yes, this is exactly the juror they want. Send them on. And you are sent to the back row along with Helena and Lucia.
I'm just gonna like stare at this guy as I walk by and take my seat.
He
Like,
smiles at you and holds up his cigarette and he tucks it in his pocket. He will not smoke because it aggravates your bronchitis.
Does Eddie come and sit next to me?
You're on the front bench because you're still on a maybe card. Everyone else is on the back bench. And the rest of the day is a long stream of more and more people kind of being led in from the panel. The 20 that were originally there this morning, they brought in more people. As more and more people are getting turned away, there's something... You feel, Helena, in your case, you feel lucky that you've made it on because the amount of people getting turned away. And there are a few more women that have been brought in who handle the questioning, some better, some worse, than you guys did. And Lucia, you get the sense that I don't know, how do you feel? Do you feel lucky or do you feel negatively that you are now on this jury as you're watching people brought in and questioned and many of them turned away?
I think at the time she was just confident because she was like, it was very much, of course, I'm as good as any man to be on the jury, and it was almost like, you know, I want to be here. But then now that she's sat here, she's sort of like, the realization is, oh God, I've got to sit here and be here for some reason, and in a way I don't know why. So she, I guess, slightly nervous, but she's not scared or anything.
Right, and at the end of this day, as night is, or evening is falling, and the skies are beginning to darken earlier and earlier now as we head into the fall season, there is still not a complete 12-man jury. And you're effectively dismissed for the day and told to return tomorrow. And those who have made the jury selection are given very specific instructions to go down to the red door. And those who have not been confirmed in their places must attend and go through the process again tomorrow.
Oh.
So for the night, you are dismissed. You are told not to discuss anything that's taking place in this courtroom between anyone other than those present. But it's kind of one of those, like, it's not like heavy, weighty law, don't do it. It's just we'd rather you didn't do it. kind of thing, and you are sent out from the courtroom. And it's probably about 7 o'clock at night by the time you're finally out, and Mr. Sparks has kind of given out appropriate paperwork to people. What do you do this evening?
I am feeling very sober. So with our normal jobs being on jury service, we're not allowed to attend. We can go back to them if we can manage it. What's the deal there?
You have to be available to the jury service for the times that the courthouse is open. Basically, you can go to work if you want, but if jury service calls up, you've got to go. And you're expected to be there at 9 a.m. again tomorrow until you are dismissed.
Well, hell, Eddie, I feel like we got on quite well. Do you want to go to the bar?
Yeah, I could use a drink. Maybe a cigarette. That whole thing about the smoke, that's all bullshit.
I see.
Yeah. Well, we gotta stick together in this thing. If they pick you, you know. And they have to keep me from jumping out of the window.
Yeah, why did you tell a lie?
Oh, what are we in church? You know, this thing, people don't really understand what's going on with me. And, you know, that's fine. It's a help when I need it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like booze. And it's probably why I don't have to drink as much as I used to. I got a lot to think about. So.
Makes sense, I guess. Makes sense.
Yeah. PI, huh? How's that working out for you?
It's quiet down here.
Yeah, you don't have to shoot anybody?
Yeah, you know. Keeps me busy. Not got many cases on at the minute.
Well, it's quiet. It's a quiet town, which is why I think I spent so much time here. Yeah. Everybody's asking me what in the hell I'm up to all the time. Just the problem with the city.
So, Lucia, you opening the bar tonight?
I will be opening the coffee shop, yes.
Oh, yeah, the coffee shop, yeah.
Will I see you there?
Yes, indeed.
Like always.
Adam, remind me what your wild magic side was?
I believe I am a bard.
I believe you're a bard. Alright, that will take effect when you enter into the cafe.
Drunken singing.
Meanwhile, Helena, the jury have kind of fallen out. You go down the staircase, back through that room with the arched windows to the green door. As you step across the threshold of that green door to enter into the rest of the courthouse, to that corridor that leads to the foyer, you feel your mind turn, and you look up on the wall opposite, and there is another door, one of the white wooden paneled doors, and above that is something carved in what you perceive as Latin, but your brain turns on you, and I need you to make a sanity check.
Ooh.
Would Helena be fluent in Latin, is my other question.
Probably. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine she would. Okay.
Ooh.
And don't forget you have advantage and also success. But it doesn't matter. You pass for the success. Alright, so you will take 2 points of sanity loss.
And that's subtracted from the 75.
Yes, so you will be down to 73. So the next time you make a sanity roll, you're now rolling against 73.
Okay.
And from this moment, for the next 5 minutes, you can do nothing but babble in a strange language as you try and process what you know is Latin and what you know should make sense, and you try and conjugate the verbs and rearrange it, And to anyone else listening, it sounds like a hellish speaking in tongues moment as you babble at this sign carved into the wall above the door. Well, it's a carved plinth type engraving.
So would I'm just in this hallway babbling
Yeah,
and
you're just there, like maybe like just under your breath kind of thing, just
probably, yeah.
trying to make sense of the words that you're reading on the wall.
Would I think about entering this door?
Let's see what that would be. Sorry, I like this is my second time playing, so I'm not 100% familiar with all of the skills.
This is my first time, so weird. Okay.
How about to assist you, because you did pass your sanity roll, try making a history check for me to see if that will help clarify what is reading on this wall for you. Fail. Alright, you cannot make sense of this. And it is up to you if you want to push through this door. Do you have the feeling in your gut of an unsolved mystery? And it's up to you what Helena does with that.
That's like my true calling in life. So I think in the state that my mind is right now, I would be gravitating towards the door, yeah.
Do we
Right.
see this?
Yeah, do I see this?
Yeah, you're just a little way ahead in the foyer, so if you do look back and check for Helena, you may notice this. You can maybe do a spot hidden and we'll see which of you notices first. If you feel your character would look back.
Yeah, I think she would.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
I have a 50 or a 60 spot hit?
That's a
50.
Alright, so you fail to notice the babbling and the intent in Helena's face, but you do notice that she is still behind you.
I think Lucia would stop and maybe walk back to her. It's you need to keep up.
So I will just quickly describe the luck mechanic, because yours is close, Alice. Luck is points that you can spend to change your dice rolls. So if you wanted to make that 43, which is only 2 away from being a success, you could spend some luck to do so.
Okay, so how do I do that? Sorry.
You just deduct 2 points. You just say, you spend 2 points and you push your roll.
Okay, I'll spend 2 points then. I'll do that.
And luck points regenerate 1 per hour.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm just. Helena, are you okay? Are you with us? She's trying to keep her voice low because at the moment she doesn't hearing Helena talk all these strange things. She doesn't want where we are them to be like, it's a crazy woman.
And as you are hearing them, I would like you to make a sanity roll.
Oh, dang it.
I'm staring at the door.
Oh, it didn't like that. Okay, never mind, hang on. 4.
And that was you're like 45, right?
I'm 45.
Right, so you also take 2 sanity loss.
Okay.
And it's a strange feeling of you're hearing the words with your ears, but they're also in the back of your head like a strange migraine. And you follow Helena's eyes up to this plinth across the top of this door.
What is happening? Helena, is this? Do you hear this too?
Can I speak English yet?
Yeah, we'll say you were there for a couple of minutes before they kind of noticed that you were there stock still. So yeah, we'll say that you're slowly kind of coming out of only babbling in Latin.
So I hear something and the words there. I should be able to read this. What does it say? Can you understand?
What is that sound? Like, and she sort of blocks her ears to see if she can listen better. But I'm assuming it's like a nagging sound, like it actually hurts.
Yeah. It's kind of like an earworm type thing, but it's more painful and it's words.
But she keeps blinking as if she thinks maybe it's her eyes that hurt. I don't. Can you read it? You normally read this?
I speak and read and understand what you don't speak, but I understand Latin, but I should be able to read this and I can't and I don't know what's happening. It's spinning.
What were you saying a moment ago?
What do you mean? I didn't say anything.
Those words, they weren't words. Well, none I've heard. Oh, none I have heard of.
I wasn't speaking. I don't know what you mean. I was just looking at the door.
Where does the door go?
I'm afraid to open it. I don't know. Do you want to go inside?
Maybe this will stop if we do.
I think we should open it.
And she's just still like, with this like shouting at the back of her head.
So I'll just like keep eye contact with Lucia as I like go to the door and touch the handle. Does anything happen when I touch the handle? Anything stop?
Like a regular handle.
Okay, then I open it. I'm still looking at her, but
Lucia, where is your position in relation to Helena?
I've come to stand.
Do you have physical contact with her, or are you just...
I was about to say I sort of stand next to her, and it's like if she's stepping into the door, I will let her open it, but I will keep her hand like I'm sort of to the right of her, and I almost keep it on her upper arm and shoulder so she doesn't fully walk through.
Eddie and Bert, please make a spot hidden.
Oh yeah, we got some stragglers here. All right, hold on.
I'm going to use my advantage on this.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. Does that go away, like at the end of today's game?
No, you can stack them. If we get a high amount, though, we might start forcing them to be used.
All right, well, we're not both going to do it. Wait, I'm typing that into Twitch. Twitch doesn't care. Here we go. Yeah, I won't use advantage. I'll just fail my roll. That's fun.
And that's a regular success for you, Bert?
Yeah, just a regular success, yeah. You can roll a second time, Travis, for your advantage.
Oh, okay.
I think he said he wasn't going to use it. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna save it.
Oh, okay. My bad.
That's fine.
You do have
Alright,
two.
so
Okay.
So out of the corner of your eye, Bert, you glance to where the two women were, and you see Helena with her hand on the door, and then the next minute they are both gone. But it's a strange, like, oh, they must have just gone into the ladies' room kind of feeling. It's not a, oh, they just vanished before my eyes. It's a, oh, I must have blinked at the wrong time and they stepped into whatever room that is.
Oh, guess I'll walk back and investigate.
I'm
Right.
gonna watch him do that. Just gonna keep an eye on him.
Bert comes back to this door. It is closed. Looking at the door, it is much like the other three doors down this side of the corridor. White and wooden paneled. There's no particular interesting signage anywhere. Above in the stonework, there's just like a phrase carved in that it's in Latin. It's very courthousey.
What on earth are they doing in here? And I'll pull that door open.
I'd like you to make a sanity roll, please.
As I do it, I'm gonna just hesitate for a moment because
Okay.
I remember Helena's relationships with younger people, and as I say, I wonder what those two are doing in there. I suddenly just sort of go, "Hang on, do I want to open this door?" And then I go ahead and open it anyway, and I'll make my sanity
Okay.
check over here.
As you open the door beyond, you see darkness, pure and pitch black. And then a light turns on. But in that moment, in the darkness, you have the deepest sense of existential dread that whatever is beyond this door doesn't exist. It is something worse than death. And you lose 4 sanity points. But the light comes on, and you're like a child who is embracing a night light. The world still exists again. everything's fine. The girls aren't in here, but you still exist and you're still okay.
The girls aren't in here?
Nope.
I'll call back. Eddie, you saw those girls come in here, right?
I look down and see him. Like, what, Bert? What in the hell are you doing? We're leaving. And I like walk down there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they both went in here. I think. And if I get close enough, I can try and read the Latin on the door.
Okay. Is Latin a language that you know?
Yes. It's the only other language that I know.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, I would like you to make a language roll. I waived this for Helena just so people know because of the wild magic surge and because I wanted to include that before next thing, so I just assumed that she failed.
We will be getting to that other wild magic surge from the retweets soon.
All right.
We are aware.
I'm doing my advantage on this Latin because
Okay.
my Latin is not super great, but it is a 21.
All right, here we go.
Oh yeah. No. Slash roll. Oh no. On my better
You
days, I'm able to pick that
Look
out.
up at these words and they mean nothing to you. You kind of recognize like parts of them, like it's something to do with sea, but maybe actually in this context that's not what that means at all. And I'd like you to make a sanity check, please.
Sure. I passed it.
And you pass it.
Yay.
You remain. You take 1 point of sanity loss as you doubt your brain because your education is failing you. But it's just an unnerving of why can't I figure this out? But also, it's probably a dumb American mistake. They've probably just made the words up to make it sound Latin. It's that sort of feeling that you're having.
I love that. I love that. I hate it when they make up Latin. I can always spot the real thing. I can't, all the Latin in the U.S. is all wrong.
And beyond it, in that room, you see it's kind of like a filing room. There are a couple of cabinets. There's a few papers up on there. There's a desk in one corner. And there's a window through which you can see the Privacy Town Square.
Okay.
And
Girls
those-
aren't there.
Nope.
And Adam is next to me?
Well, Bert is next to you, but
Bert,
yeah.
excuse me.
Bert.
Bert is next to me. Adam is always next to me. So yeah, I look at Bert. I look at him real hard, and I'm like, they did come in here, right?
That's what I thought. Is there anywhere around that they could be hiding?
I don't know why they would hide. I'm familiar enough with both of them to know that they may be exploring some broom closet, far enough away. They're capable. They're going to be okay.
Yeah,
They probably got caught up exploring this place, which I can't say I blame them. There's probably a bunch of cool stuff tucked away in the corners of this place. They got a lot of interesting. I mean, they got bogus Latin on the door, but they've got that cool statue out in the foyer, and I'd take a look around at what kind of cool stuff they've got, and that's probably what they're doing.
Well, I mean,
Right, sorry.
well, I mean, if you're confident that they can look after themselves, do we just ditch and head back to the cafe?
As this question remains, this conversation is going on, let's go back to the two girls who are not in this room. Or the two women, really, I should say. You are in a dark cellar type room. The ceilings here are much lower than the ceilings above the stairs in the courthouse. And the floor is damp. There's a trickle of water that seems to have just constantly run through. And as you push into this space with Lucia behind you, Helena, you see a head light glinting off of perpendicular vertical bars. You imagine that you are somewhere near the cells. Some cells. You're pretty sure you're still in the courthouse. But this doesn't make sense. You don't remember stepping into this room. You definitely don't feel like that corridor is behind you. What do you do?
Are we still hearing these voices in our heads, or these whatever buzzing?
No, you are very aware of just the sounds in this room now.
So I would, I turn to Lucia and I ask her, do you know what's happening? How did we get here? I don't remember anything.
And she looks around briefly. She says, I don't remember stepping through the door. What, are we in the cells or something? Is this...
It feels like it, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that we would be in a hallway near the courtroom, and then through one door we're in a cellar with what looks like jail cells.
I turn back. Is the door still there?
There's a door behind you.
And she immediately opens the door just to have a look through.
As you open that door, you see what Bert has seen upstairs, that existential void of non-existence. And I need you to make a sanity save.
I'm gonna be so out of this before we even...
I'm watching her. Would I have noticed the door, what's beyond the door, or just notice her opening the door?
31, that's a pass.
If you're looking in that direction, you will need to make a sanity save also as you see the void.
Okay.
Okay, extreme success.
Oh, okay, success.
Yes. And you were successful too, right, Alice?
Yes, I was, yes.
Perfect. So you feel the dread in your stomachs, but I'm going to imagine Lucia has the presence of mind enough with Helena's help to just shut that door as quickly as possible.
She will just slam it shut and probably put her hands on the door. So. And she just stares probably at the door for quite a while. Can't even look at Helena.
Behind you, you hear the sound of rope swinging and cracking, and then a dull thud.
That's creepy. So, turn around.
Sorry?
So I was gonna say, I keep my hands on the door still, and I just saying to Helena, I was like, what is it?
So I'll turn around and look.
You can't see where the space, where the sound should come from is where you are. It's kind of like, there's a narrow corridor. Down this side there are the cells, but there's a space to your left which opens up just beyond this kind of corridor section that you're in. And it's in that space where the sound took place.
Do you want to go see what that was?
And she looks over at you at a second, just like...
Well, we can't go through this door.
Okay, but whatever it is, we approach it slowly.
And I pull a dagger out of my sock.
I'm so glad everyone handed over their weapons. Although actually you would have probably been given back your contraband as you left the courthouse.
It's in one of those like holsters and the holes up the socks. How they used to do.
Your little sock garter.
Mm-hmm.
So you approach the corner of this corridor where it breaks out into this open space to your left. And as you peer around the corner, you see a wooden construction that is covered in heavy drop sheets. But there is nothing hanging suspended from the ceiling that would mimic the sound that you had heard.
So it sounded like the creaking of a rope swinging.
Yeah, it sounded like rope over a beam is kind of taut and tense, kind of creaking. And then
So I
there's
think
a thud. of
like
something
falling something or hitting a wall. Okay, floor.
hitting the floor.
And
So
there's all
instead
these
of
sheets.
trying to find it.
So what was the question, Alice?
So there are loads of sheets and everything. In
Yeah,
front
just
of us.
heavy drop cloths over whatever this wooden construction is. But you can see that it's wooden. You can see the upright supports underneath and some lattice work.
I'm literally going to reach out to the first sheet and just really quickly pull it back.
As you pull it back, dust billows up and into your face. And Alice, I'd like you to roll me a wild magic surge, please.
Oh god.
As we make our, I think, a second viewer decision. Is that right, Scrap? Is that where this came from? Okay.
Yes, indeed, it is from our retweets.
Sorry, what was the number for the wild magic surge?
423.
70. Oh god, I think that's one of mine.
When
Target
you can only blame yourself.
Yeah.
believes they are being followed.
Oh no!
Right.
Perfect.
So what happens is, for you, Lucia, the dust swells up and you choke, and you turn to look for Helena, because it's, it's weird. And you see in that smoke the form of a person. It looks like a man, probably about the height of your youngest brother. And he reaches out a hand for you, and as it nearly touches your face, the dust swells again, and you see just Helena stood there watching you. And in the back of your mind, from now on, if you are in a space alone or it is dark, you will feel like this young man is with you, following you.
What was that? Did you see that?
I didn't see
Where did he go?
who.
The boy, the young boy. The man.
Oh, I didn't see anything.
It's nothing. I'm in a dark place and there's dust. It's probably nothing. And she's still just like every now and then checking over her shoulder.
And as you look at the revealed part of the wooden structure, you see that this is in fact definitely a gallows. You can see the upright that has been laid down across the top, as if this is where they store the gallows, and this is what has just been revealed by the removing of the dust sheet.
I still don't understand why we are here.
I don't know how we got here from the hallway. And why is there a gallows? And what is happening?
How do we get out? And I start like, is it very dark in this room?
It's pretty dark. There's kind of that low light of, from somewhere there's some light coming, but you can't see a light source. It's like pretty dim.
I start going along the walls, trying to basically find another door, or if the wall is hollow or anything.
All right, so the space is, so to the left of the space is this open area where the gallows are stored.
Mm-hmm.
And all down the right side are where these cells are off of this corridor. So
I also have a lighter. I think they had lighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not,
so-
you can have matches.
Yeah.
Right, so you hear the spark, and more light comes up in this closed-in, tight space that is. And you can see again that glint of the perpendiculars, the up and down, the cell at the far end. There's one that is face on to you that you hadn't noticed was face on to you before, and in that cell there is a person.
Hang on, so who's seeing? Are we both seeing this?
You both see this.
And after what just happened to Lucia, she sort of leans to Helen, like, "Do you see someone too?"
I do see someone this time.
Excuse me? Hello?
There is no response.
He's not very talkative.
I want to approach a little bit closer with my lighter, like, fully extended in front of me. As I get closer.
Okay, as you get closer, you see that this person seems to have their back to you. And they are leaning against the cell bars.
Careful. Is there anything around, like, I don't know, just something I can grab myself? not like a stick, but like if there's like these bits of wood and everything from the gallows.
Yeah, so you could probably find like a 2x4 type.
I was gonna say I find something like that.
It has a nail just kind of hanging out of it, where it's obviously just been ripped off of whatever it's meant to be plugged into.
So she'll sort of approach and literally with this piece of wood just gently push the back of this person.
As you do, 2 sacks tumble forwards, and the shape is revealed not to have been a person, but to have been these 2 sacks. The contents of which spill out, and it's heavy chains and manacles.
She takes a bit and just I sort of trying to gather herself. I can't believe I thought there was a person. I need to calm down.
And to your left now there is another door that you had not seen until you got into this point.
Right. And she sort of gets the wood ready because she trusts nothing down here right now.
Got my lighter and my dagger.
Yeah. And she's holding like this big plank of wood and she just quickly opens it and takes a step back if she can.
And as you open it, in front of you, you see another figure. This one, however, is familiar to you, as she holds aloft scales in one hand. And you see the back of the head of the statue from the main foyer. Down somewhere in front of it, you know that's where the receptionist desk is.
How... Like, can I look down? Can I see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you kind of peer down, you're actually ending up peering over the shoulder of Lady Justice, and you see the foyer very much as you left it. The lighting is still the same, and out in the square, you hear the tolling of the hour from the clock in the fountain. It is 7 o'clock at night.
What time did we go in? Sorry, like is this much later than when we went in, or?
It's about the same time.
Okay. So, we're back by the foyer. I don't understand. We were just down there. Can I see anyone? Like, can I see the?
Right now, you can't see anyone. You can see people in the streets beyond, kind of going about their business as they normally would. But as you are looking, you hear the sound of stone on stone, and the head of Lady Justice swivels to look at you.
Okay, now I know I shouldn't have drunk that last night.
And from behind the carved form of her, I still can't think what the word for it is, blindfold. You see blood trickling down, fresh and red. And her hand reaches up, and she removes what should be solid stone, but comes back as cloth. And she holds it out to Helena.
Okay.
You're going to touch it?
She's giving it to me. I feel like I should take it. I don't know. It's...
And in both of your heads, you hear, "See the truth, for I am blind. I am the protector of law and just." And in the space where you wanted there to be like the carved features of like the nose bridge and the eyes, is just blank. There's been no work there.
So there's no door behind us?
Behind you, there's a regular door. You're back in the normal foyer. There's just weird things happening with this statue right now, and
Okay.
she's offering you.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Right. You take it, and it feels like normal fabric in your hands. Silk, fine silk, in fact. And as you hold it and for a moment look at it, a pattern forms in it that you find pleasing. It's very fashionable. It's some sort of paisley design, maybe. And in your gut, you know that this was meant for you, and this is your token for your part in this. And this will be Wild Magic Surge with mysterious effects just so you know, that you got earlier. And as the cloth is taken, the hand disappears. The head is returned to its correct position. And it is as if nothing has happened, save for the fact that Helena still holds in her hand the silk blindfold.
So this was the, what was it called? Third eye.
Yeah, third eye headband. I've given it to you. You can tie it up in your hair. You can put it around like a neckerchief. Up to you how you want to deploy it.
Yeah, okay, cool. For now, I'll just put it in my pocket, my suit pocket.
And you hear down the corridor the conversation of Bert and Eddie discussing where the hell the women have gone. But they'll be all right? Why don't we just go and get a drink?
I mean, if Eddie's okay with that, I'm going to start walking him towards my car. I think you're muted, Eddie.
I said, yeah, I got to get the hell out of here.
Sounds good to me. We'll head to the cafe.
So the two men come across the foyer just down in front of you.
You won't, I sort of cool down, you won't get any drinks without me.
Do you want to ride, Lucia?
So hang on, so can they see me?
Yep.
We can also, I'm going to say. And she looks to Helena and she's like, I think we both would.
I'm boarding at your place, I believe.
In fact, and then she sort of, she's like, I have my truck. It's fine. I will. She seems a bit out of it. She's not too sure. I have my brother's truck. I can take that. Helena, if you wish to come with me, then that's absolutely fine.
I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, so we're walking up to the ladies. Is that right?
Well, we're heading outside towards the
You're
car.
all kind of in the foyer now.
Oh, wonderful. All right, so I take a big, deep breath, and I remove my hat, and I walk right up to Helena with my hand held out for a handshake, and I say, Helena Hawthorne, it is my absolute pleasure to see you again.
It's so
Hope
good
you
to
are
see
well.
you again. I'm very excited. Yeah.
Yes, that we do. We had quite a season. In Gay Paris.
In Gay Paris.
You, I don't want to ask personal questions there.
No, we were, lots of lunches. We had some fabulous lunches, some fabulous baguettes, and actual coffee, real coffee. They have real coffee there, by the way. And we had all the right friends back then, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Helena, it's good to hear that you've come out of that phase. That sounds good.
Oh yeah, totally come out of that phase.
Well, I am pretty surprised to see you here. We will have to catch up.
So good to see you. I'm very pleased.
And the four of you make your way to the cafe, either all in one car or in the two separate vehicles that you have. And you find that the cafe is busy. The three brothers have been doing a good job holding down the fort, although, Lucia, you imagine there's going to be a lot of washing up for you to do. There's clattering. There are a couple of guys that have come in with instruments they're setting up in the corner. And things are kind of picking up. It's still really early in the night for the speakeasy aspect of things, but it's been a day. And things here are good. And there's a warm glow and the smell of food and coffee. And there's a good feeling as you cross the threshold into this place.
Chia will immediately roll up her sleeves, probably take her hat off and shove the brothers out from beside the bar. Just like, get out. And starts wiping down where they haven't been wiping down and basically making it more efficient and start churning out everything.
I walk up to the bar and I'm like, I would just like a very cold glass of milk. And that's all I want right now.
Okay.
Very cold. Very.
I
Very
can
cold.
do cold. It's fine.
Thank you.
She will probably disappear out the back quite quickly and come back with a very cold glass of milk and sets it down. It's like, you don't want anything else?
I come back and no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just
Not-
gotta get my
not-
head together.
You don't want your usual? It's normally around the same sort of time you have it.
Lucia, my dear, you've just reminded me that I'm starving. Yes, please.
Of course.
Bring it on.
And she disappears out back to get your regular liver and onions with like mashed potato and brown gravy, which is the only
Brown
kind
gravy.
of gravy.
Oh, thank God for this place. Ah. It's comfort food, Bert. I don't know if you eat like this. Whether you. I know you're a health nut, but they do it right over here.
Yeah, scotch. Please.
You're gonna drink your dinner.
That's the intention.
You and she sort of leans over, like, you could try something different. I have no one really has tried it yet, but I think you might. I have my own brew, shall we call it?
Ah, the old bathtub brew.
I don't cook it in a bathtub, but if that's what you want, then I'm sure I've got something weaker out the back for you.
No. Just a turn of phrase. I'll try whatever you got.
Okay. And she'll disappear and come back with a very thick, sort of drink. It's very dark. It's got sort of reddish color to it. And she's like, this is my own, I call it. And she just slides it across the table. I called it the Fire of Bacchus, but my brother calls it the Head Splitter, so don't drink too much of it. And she'll sort of disappear to the other end of the bar. I'd probably look to Helena just to see if she would also like anything.
I don't know if she would drink tonight after everything, but maybe just a water for now.
And she will get you that. That's all good. She'll get you that.
Hail Bacchus. Yeah.
And,
Helena, a secret I've learned is you got to learn how to watch people drink. They say you're not supposed to live vicariously through other people. They're wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm gonna watch Bert drink for a while.
as you watch Bert drink, and he does the ill-advised and drink a little bit too much of the head splitter, he will make his way to join the men with their instruments. And in a kind of musicality that you were not expecting, what instrument would he play?
He'd go straight up to the piano.
He takes a seat at the piano.
Tinkle them
Show
ivories.
me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed.
Oh God.
I had a little drink.
What do we want? Sleight of hand for this?
Yeah, I think so. No, let's do charm. I would like to see charm.
A charm roll. Okay, I'm actually a little bit better at charm than I am sleight of hand. And you know what? I don't have an advantage. I can hold a note. I can hold a tune.
Yeah, so actually, as he gets into it, it really is quite nice to listen to. And Bert, you yourself find yourself enjoying this. It feels like a really nice escape and release, and occasionally you'll reach up and you'll get some more of that Hail to Bacchus. I forget what exactly, sorry, I should have written that down. The head splitter, and you drink more of that, and you find it is possibly the best thing you've ever had to drink.
Yeah, it tastes amazing, and I'll be singing a song like I know exactly what we'll be doing. The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but on the piano, the piano version, you know, like
the equivalent of that, yeah.
Well, that devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal.
And
big old
it actually
swallow.
Gets the entire cafe tapping along and there's a lot of people joining in with dancing, and you get the sense that everyone here has come home after a long day, and this is how they're going to relax, and they're having a damn good time, and you are in the middle of this. And since we're getting close to the end of our game today, what I would like to do is just hear about the last few minutes before each of these characters goes to sleep tonight. So if let's start with Bert. Let's start there.
Well, you know, Bert drinks too much at the bar, then he gets in his car and drives home. And when he gets home, he, you know, he's pretty sure this is his house. He stumbles out, climbs the stairs, pours himself a scotch, and that's all she wrote. You know, he wakes up either on the sofa somewhere or somewhere else with a glass of scotch on its side. And
we shall find out next week.
Mm.
Helena, what does she do in that last time when she's on her own before sleep?
So she's currently a little shook up, but since she's boarding at the cafe doesn't have like a boarding room connected to it. Is that how it's built?
So the way I imagine it is you have the cafe downstairs. You can correct me, Alice. Is that you have the cafe downstairs, and around the back you go up there's a staircase that's hidden around the back, and you go up that, and then there are 2 or 3 apartments up there, kind of crammed in.
Okay, so I go to the bar one last time, and I get 2 glasses of whatever. But Alice knows that my girlfriend is also staying in my room with me, and we have to keep that to ourselves. So I take 2 glasses up to my room, and that's how I end my night.
Okay. And Alice, how does Lucia end her night?
After Lucia pours the 2 drinks for Helena and just sort of gives her a smile and a nod and waits for her to go upstairs, she will go around and lock all the doors. The blinds are already down. She sees her brothers, who live in a house adjacent to them, closing up for the night, and she just taps, for her own comfort reasons, the shotgun under the bar, just to check it's still there before pouring herself a tiny little glass of her own brew. And
is Lucia alone in her apartment?
She is alone in her apartment.
Before she falls asleep, she will see the face of the man that follows her.
And as she does, she quickly takes that shot and hopes it will knock her out.
And finally, Eddie, do you sleep peacefully tonight?
No, of course not. Are you kidding? I have a coffee and cherry pie. I slap Bert on the shoulder, who I have watched get trashed, wish him the best, and go back to my incredibly depressing apartment, which is full of newspapers. I have newspapers going back at least 15 years, and I throw the new one on the stack, and I sit on the bed, and this is where I have my Paris flashback. Spends about an hour thinking about when he had hair, when he had a face, when he had a life and a career, and he had all the right friends, and he was arm wrestling Ernest Hemingway and having this incredible time. And he's hearing the music, some sweet accordion music. You know what it is. It just makes you kind of dreamy, you know? And then I basically think myself to sleep, and then he removes his apparatus, which he puts on a little special clip on his bedside table, but the camera doesn't show the face, and violently falls to sleep.
Right, and I would like you all to make one last sanity roll for our day.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I've been consistently failing these sanity rolls.
Oh, I
thank
failed
God.
it. I failed it.
Okay, and so all those who have succeeded, you may add back 6 points of sanity. As
to
you,
like,
sorry, up to your maximum, up to your original maximum. As the evening has restored you, and you have been relieved to be back and to rest, and you do actually sleep peacefully. Those who have failed their sanity rolls, meanwhile, you have a night where you dream of being stuck in the courthouse You wander from room to room, trying to find the way out, knowing that you could be called at any minute to return to the room, to sit and to place judgment. And you do not regain any sanity tonight. Now, normally, the way sanity works, you need to go to an asylum and get properly treated, or an exorcism. But because we're only running a 14-week season, I want to offer a few different ways for you guys to regain your sanity, at least in these early days. And I think since you made the choice to go drinking, to go to reassuring places, that it is reasonable that after your first day of court, you get a hold of yourself and fight back the forces that mess with your mind. So next week, day 2 of jury selection.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Charlie. I love these characters. This is great.
Man.
So let's go round. We'll finish with you, Charlie, because you are a wonderful DM. We'll go around the players. Actually, we'll obviously finish with me, but nah. Fuck it. Let's just go to the first player. Let's go. We'll start with Alice in the bottom.
Yes, that's your answer for everything.
Yeah. Hello. I love today. This is my first time playing Call of Cthulhu and having Charlie as my DM. So I've been super hyped for this for ages, and it was so good. I love like the right level of creepy. It's one of the things I like, and I am loving how unique each individual character is in this and how different we all are. So yeah, I already can't wait for next week, and thank you, Charlie. What an awesome way to open this season. So awesome, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Agreed. What an awesome opening to the season. Our first season full-time. Next we have Travis Bowles, the creator of that wonderful intro video with Charlie, and obviously amazing work. Thank you.
Yeah, Charlie pulled the pictures and I put them together. I'm having so much fun working with Charlie, who is a deft and brilliant DM and has just really handled this beautifully, and has also weathered me blowing up her DMs with mashed potatoes and brown gravy and, hey, I think I was 22 when I did this or that, and she's been putting up with that for about 4 weeks, and she's been very patient, and I would even say kind, and it is much appreciated, because I am officially irrationally excited about this game, and have been for about 3 or 4 weeks. I really want to thank Adam and Alice, who are such lovely individuals and have such a special thing going on this channel. This has just been a dream, and I love these characters too. I'm going to do fan art of these characters myself. Where's my pen? And I'm just having a blast, and I'm just going to I shoot WebDM for the next week straight. We're going to shoot another 14 episodes, and so I shoot for a week. So when you see me again, I will have been shooting for a week, and so my madness will only deepen, and I can't wait. Thank you guys so much.
Doing those IRL sanity rolls. Thank you. Let's go back to you two again. Actually, let's just go through your favorite part of today's show. Let's keep that going. What was your favorite part, or who was your favorite player, or something along those lines?
You know, I believe it was Howard Hawks who said a good movie should have 3 or 4 good scenes and no bad scenes. And I think that the same applies to these streaming role-playing games. And I think we had at least 3 or 4 killer scenes. And I think my favorite, I was very glad to see Kiana. I want to say hi to Kiana, who I'm a big fan of, who said I was killing it when I did the Jesse James bit. That's fun. Anytime you can say Tijuana Bible, without getting in trouble for it, is a good thing. It's a good day. And I just had a blast. I think my other thing is I want to thank Meredith Johns at Hogfly in Austin, Texas. Everybody should check out Hogfly Productions, HAWGFLY. They do incredible work, and they brought this to life, this thing that you're seeing. And I'll have some stuff on Twitter about how we did it. So, but that was my favorite part, was finally getting to put this on and trying to get out of jury duty. That was great.
Fantastic. And you can feel free to post your links in chat. I don't block that. And Alice, your favorite part?
Oh, okay.
One of the things is how well everyone turned out with outfits, I want to say, and how committed everyone is to this. I had to do makeup for the first time in a long time, and it's very difficult. I appreciate everyone who does makeup daily. But I think the individual interviews before, to see if we were allowed to sit on the jury as a whole, I thought those were fun for all of them. I think they were each unique to the character, and there was so much sass in everyone's just talking. It's like so confrontational without trying to be confrontational. Yeah, and I loved it. So.
Fantastic. And of course, the last of our other players, excluding myself, is Ephemeroptera, or Anna as we know her. Did I say that right? Did I say it right?
Ephemeroptera. Close. Very, very close.
Yeah, I'll take it.
My favorite part was also the it felt like an interview. It was so funny, the questions, because you didn't know it was going to come, and I was like, okay, I gotta feel like I'm getting interviewed for a job. It was awesome. That was so cool. I also loved the creepy statue. I always love creepy statues and swinging rope sounds. That was awesome. What else was I supposed to say?
Who you are, where we can find you online, everything else you're in, all that good stuff.
Oh, I'm in a lot of things. I play a lot of games. This is like my favorite thing to do. And I've never played Call of Cthulhu. I've always wanted to. I love the 20s. So this is awesome. And Charlie, you're doing amazing. Everyone is amazing. I love any chance to get to do costumes, clearly. And I love when everyone does it. It's so cool. So yeah, my Twitter is __ephemeroptera. But that's me.
Fantastic. I'll start doing some shout outs whilst we go to Charlie, our wonderful keeper for today. I had a tremendous amount of fun. Thank you so much.
I had the best time. I have to say, when we got this group together and we did an early session 0, which sadly Adam didn't make it to, and everyone was so excited and had so many amazing ideas that I was like, yes, they get it. And literally, that's been the feeling for the last few weeks. And I've loved Game Messages from Travis and talking to Anna about things, and Scrat and Alice. We had that extra 45-minute cram session where we got to know everyone a little bit better. And yeah, I'm so excited that we get to do this. I think Call of Cthulhu is pretty new to all of us, but it's been really great fun to explore and to see how we can tell the story using this. Mega shout out to chat for hanging out and being really cool supporters, and all of those wild magics and advantages and disadvantages and things. We appreciate those muchly, and I hope you like how they tied into the story. We have one outstanding, which is in my notes, and Travis, that's coming for you at some point. So heads up. What I am going to do is treat these wild magic surges as in relationship to sanity, because most of them are going to affect you in that way, and so it'll be, like failing a sanity check and getting an effect. It's that sort of thing. Or we'll write them in like we did with Bert's cigarettes. That's how I'm going to do it. Other games may be different. Yes, and this game, the way I've written it is kind of a slow burn in some ways, in that it's just about exploring these people and their stories. It's not about me telling my big story. It's about you guys wandering around in this world and me shoving you into little rooms and torturing you quietly. But yeah, thank you so much for playing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to next week immensely. I am back here tomorrow at the same time, but this time I will be tortured. But I will be playing Dave the Kenku with Scrat DMing, and Tahina's back tomorrow. I think Chorus is going to be there tomorrow, and we have some new crew that I don't think are joining us this week, but are joining us next week. Exactly. So we're going to dive into Waterdeep. And Dave is back. Dave's back. And yeah, I play a lot of RPG games, so keep an eye out. The only other thing I really want to plug is on Fridays, I am doing a roll-up over on Encounter Roleplay, where we explore character creations in different systems with different guests, and it's a lot of fun. It's really chill. Friday hangout at 5 p.m. EST, which is 10 p.m. UK. And yeah, so please come hang out and join me for that. We're just finishing up Call of Cthulhu this week, and then next week we're starting Warhammer. So
awesome sauce. Well, thank you very much, Charlie. I've already posted your Twitter and your Twitch, so that's there. What a great opener to the series. well, I mean, I'm going to stick with my usual wrap-up stuff, so I just need to remember what they are. Here are my social links. If you guys want to join our Discord, where you can look at our Wild Magic Surge table and other such things, you can do that there. It's a wonderful community. It's inclusive. It's great. It's all about learning. It's a great place to be. Twitter, if you want to get in one of these games, send me a DM on Twitter and I will get you into a game, especially if you're free at 1 p.m. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, EST that is, because those games, I need more players. YouTube, oh yeah, I was going to sort out something for YouTube before the start of this season. Oh yeah. Are we on YouTube? No, we're not on YouTube. We will be on YouTube soon. We'll update that. What else we got? I've got a Patreon. If you guys would like to consider supporting me, you can do so there. It's a great way to support your favorite streamers. I get a very good percentage of that Patreon. And I also have merchandise there. I have a competition for some rainbow dice. We're still on the first of 3 competitions for the rainbow colored dice. Alice's picture does them much better. You can see the tweet there. And I believe that's everything. This has been a fantastic opening to the season. We'll be back in 2 hours with Alice's brand new campaign, Eberron, The Mists of Sire. So we will be back in a couple of hours. Until then, I'm going to take you, and we are going to go and raid one of our players for this season. We're going to go and raid Rachel. I'm sure I've raided her before. You guys know her, love her, hopefully. She's an amazing streamer. Is there someone? Nope. Okay. So that raid countdown is cooling down there. So guys, from now on, Monday to Thursday, we have 3 shows a day at 1 p.m., 6 p.m., and 10 p.m. EST. And on Fridays, we have 1 show over on the Greyhawk channel at 1 p.m. EST, and then Kiena every other week is running the Lady Blackbird on at 8 p.m. Starting this week. Every other week, alternating weeks starting this week. So thank you very much, everyone. Keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.